get it rolling on the Krueger Show on a Monday after Giants baseball, after a long day of Warrior parading, after the U.S. Open, after a weekend that was at Brookline in Massachusetts. What an exciting weekend for sports. Larry Krueger, joined by Ryan Smith, Dan Coccimilgio. I did invite Cyrus Satsis to the festivities, but he's I believe, in Reno, so he'll be back with us on Thursday night when we do our live stream on NBA Draft Night. What's going on, fellas? Rye was at the parade today. Went live. I watched the first 20 minutes of it, waiting for. I felt like you were, filming this one particular young lady's, profile a little bit.
My sister's friend. No, so for the first 20, 25 minutes, it was like, well, there's no juice in the crowd. The parade's technically started, but it's mostly just random people we've never heard of. And I was like, well, am I supposed to be spitballing here? And I couldn't see anybody that was in the chat. But then come maybe 50 minutes in, and the guys started going. It was pretty fun, and I actually am shocked by the amount of people that were watching it.
Nice. What was the final totals? I mean, hundreds of people were watching that live stream today.
Yeah, it's 1,000 or something.
Nice. And so Rye was out on the streets of Market Street for the backwards parade. The parade that usually there's a parade and then speeches. This was the opposite. This was speeches up front and then the parade with the players getting out of the vehicles and kind of walking along the parade route. Gary Payton II said he was going to pull his J.R. Smith and did. He took his shirt off. The players definitely seemed like they had a lot of fun. Draymond Green was talking a lot of trash to the Celtic fans and the Celtic fan base. Klay Thompson was everywhere. I mean, putting the trophy down, doing dances, stumbling, knocking people over. I don't know if you guys saw the video of the person he knocked over. But a great day had by all, and I would say overall a huge success. The Warriors, 4 titles in 8 years, and the dynasty continues. Pretty great day today. And then the Giants just laid an egg tonight. I mean, where's the offense? I mean, where is the offense? My goodness, no offense tonight. Max Fried shut them down. And
that was a great pitchers duel, though, Webb and Fried.
It was. But, I mean, that 8th inning, that was kind of disappointing that they could load the bases with nobody out, and they could only get the 1 run.
Yeah, very, very disappointing. Right now, the Giants, they just can't come up with a big hit. I mean, Slater does, and he happens to, hit it 109 miles an hour. I'm not sure if you send him or not in that situation because at that time there was 1 out. And if he gets thrown out, that was a pretty strong throw to the plate. He was throwing it just as he's starting around third. It would have been a, bang, bang play because the ball was a little bit, catcher had to step back a little bit. You just don't know what he's going to do. He was in pretty shallow center field. So I wasn't against him not sending him, but I'm just tired of some of these aging veterans who just don't seem to come through. LaStella got a hit tonight, but, I was thinking about this weekend with the roster crunch coming, and we know that Wade's coming back and possibly Duggar, and we've been talking about there's no room for both of them in the outfield. Somebody's got to get sent down, and I thought to myself, why not just kick can LaStella? Wade can play first. That's about all Tommy's can give you these days with his Achilles. He can play occasional second or third, but we're not seeing him out there. I'd rather have Wade at bat than
LaStella was signed to a 3-year deal.
Yeah, he's got another year at 11.
So he's
next
going
year's at
nowhere.
11.5 million. Maybe
they're not eating that. They're just not eating that.
Maybe somebody will take it that's a contender. Maybe some contender will say, hey, we need a veteran presence that can give us a good, bat. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know what the issue is. Longoria, he's still signed next year. The Angels lost Rendon. Maybe you could package something maybe. Longoria to Angels for a year.
They just call. They don't want him.
Yeah. What is that called when
Who
you
does?
This is Giants.
Nobody does.
SF Giants fan fiction. What we're doing here?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we're a contending team. We've got the pitching staff.
Let's go to the lines. Candido, what do you think? I'm thinking Guy Soulars and Joe Patini to the Phillies for Schmidt. What do you think?
Here's the deal. They've got the pitching to win it all. These guys that are not available because they're got a hamstring or a this or that. Longoria is not available. He doesn't hit. He's hitting what? Barely
211.
I was going to say 211. How about the kid Andahar from the Yankees? Do something to get him, get some life into this club, stick him out there at third base every day, and eat Longoria's con. They've got money. I don't care. You're going for a championship. They got Rondon and Webb and Wood is capable. Cobb's capable third. And then you got Junis that's coming back. DeSclafani's probably going to pitch tomorrow. They've got a deep enough pitching staff that everybody in the majors would want a couple of our starters. And I'm not even talking about our 1 and 2. They'd like our 3 through 5 starters. So we've got pitching. We've got relief pitching. That's what you need in the playoffs. You need some at-bats, some batters, and you need some speed.
I mean, they need timely hits. I mean, they went 1 for 8 tonight with runners in scoring position. Now, Fried's good, but I mean, come on, you got to have a little bit more offense than what they've had. The offense has been struggling, guys. I mean, by the way, Luis Gonzalez just continues to look great. I mean, he's fantastic. Luis Gonzalez belongs in the All-Star game. He had 2 more hits. He had a beautiful bunt single.
Yeah,
how beautiful was that? Gonzalez goes first to third and second to home as well as anybody on the team. He has been a revelation. He's hitting 308. He looks terrific. Jock Peterson got his World Series ring tonight, and he hit one a country mile. It was unfortunately foul down the right field line, but man, he unloaded on that. Like literally seconds after they'd given him a standing ovation. I really thought off the bat it was gone. I didn't think it was foul. I did not think that was foul, but man,
it just hooked right. It looked like it hooked just at the last second over to the right of the foul pole because
they just look like they're a bat short. And, like maybe 1 bat short. I mean, the bullpen seems pretty deep. They seem like they've got enough pitching options. I mean, they could always use another arm, but to me, it seems like they're about 1 bat short. If they could get 1 more offensive bat going, or if they could just get some, maybe that bat's Lamont Wade. Maybe they can get going once he comes back. But there's just a lot of guys who are kind of all in between, like anybody that you got rid of. People would be like, wow, you got rid of that guy. But then as a collective, they're not getting it done. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you see them score 1 and 2 runs, have, under 5 or 6 hits in some of these games. And you're looking at it's just a very quiet offensive presentation night after night after night. But if you said, yeah, the Giants got rid of Slater, people go, what? Giants got rid of Ruff. What? I mean, it's like, you can't send down Luis Gonzalez. You can't do, Tommy La Stella. Oh my goodness. You can't get rid of Tommy La Stella. You got him for another year. He's a vet. You know what I mean? They're now in that kind of spot where almost anybody are they going to get rid of Duggar? Are they going to let Duggar go? It sounds like they only have a few more days to decide on Steven Duggar. He can only be in the minors for 20 days.
I would like to see the lineup I would like to see them play Slater more. I think he would be fine if you gave him more at bats. He can steal bases. He plays an excellent center field. He's got incredible power. He just has to get more.
I wouldn't
timing.
say incredible power.
Well, he's got if you look at last year's
bombs. Okay.
Seriously. He hit 2 home runs last year over 460.
How many home runs? What's the career high for Slater?
Probably about 10.
All right.
I'm just saying when he.
Okay. All right.
I'm not saying he hits a lot of homers.
All right.
Look at last year's bombs. The 2 longest home runs last year were Slater. I'm just saying.
What did you say about Slater? You said he had massive power.
When he hits it can.
Incredible power.
You know who else has massive power?
Yeah, this guy.
Yeah, this guy right here who wasn't at the parade. But massive power to shut down that massive power. Look at that. Where's Faith? Where's Buster?
Gosh. Where? What about?
We're gonna have to get a look at them before we get you back. Oh, there's Faith. Faith is nearby.
Faith is such a glue dog.
Yeah, Buster's like, what? There's action going on? Maybe I better get over there. All right, Danny, we'll unmute you, but no more Soulars and Patini for Schmidt, and no more Austin Slater has awesome power when he's never hit 15 jacks.
I'm just saying, give him a chance.
Okay, all right.
I'm just saying, give him more. No, I like this. I like Jock in the outfield with Slater and Gonzalez, and
where's Yaz?
Well, Yaz has got to be in there as well. I'm just saying Slater should play a little more. I'm just saying,
J-Stamps, I got your back, coach. Slates needs ABs.
I think he does.
Slates.
I just think give him a chance.
He's got a nickname. He's got a nickname. He's never had 15 jacks.
Hey, he hit over 300 when he first came up, and he was playing against righties when Boch was here. They weren't platooning him. He was playing first
Tony
base
D.
a lot.
Danny says Slater could do a monster slam with his incredible power. Can you give us a home run call of Slater's, like what it would sound like if he really did have monster power?
Okay, all right.
Here we go. I need you to work in. I need you to work in monster power. All right. So who's pitching? Let's make it Kershaw. Kershaw because it's all extra sweet when it's Kershaw.
Oh, very true.
Here we go. Right. Dan Coccimilgio doing his best. John Miller.
Slater in the box. 2-0 count. Kershaw looks in, gets the sign from Smith. He winds, he delivers. There's a ball hit to deep left. That ball is going way back. That thing is gone. Monster shot by Slater.
That was pretty good.
Danny's one of these nights, Danny's gonna keel right there. When he gets to monster shot. I mean, the wife's not gonna be nearby. Faith can't call 911. Buster can't call 911. You know what I mean? I mean, Danny he'd be gone. He'd be a goner. I mean, it'd be more dangerous than working at a Circle K in the desert. You know what I mean?
That's true. I mean, we got to get Dan's address.
I always felt when I was driving through Arizona and I kept seeing Circle K after Circle K after Circle K. Man, if you ever worked there and somebody came in and, I'm at the Circle K. I mean, do you know how many there are in Arizona? I mean, they would find you like 5 days later. I mean, seriously, I'm at the Circle K. He couldn't quite get out the address. I'm on the Circle K at Camelback and
I'm next to the Chevron.
Near the Chevron, kind of by Scottsdale State. Dead. Gone.
So what are Slater's career numbers versus both righties and lefties?
Nick says Danny's got a little bit of that Matt Viscursion in him. There we go. Carlo P. Danny's a natural.
Okay, for his career, Slater is a 279 hitter versus lefties and 225 versus righties. Three-fourths
of the pitchers on the planet he's hitting 225 against.
And he has 20 more ABs against righties than he does lefties.
Right, let me show you this home run without. Can I show you a home run without?
What's
volume?
The career home run lead? High for him?
12.
We can't show video without
volume. That's right. Don't get us demonetized, Danny.
Hey guys, what do you think about this?
Dan's on like a one-man destruction tour.
I was going to show you Slater's bomb
which just ruined the Giants, crap all over everybody, home run calls, muted. Oh my God, you're just all over the place tonight.
Oh, he hit a couple of bombs last year in Arizona that just went so. I mean, they were like 467.
They were like monster slams.
467's a shot.
Yeah. Tony D says, you guys are so funny. Thanks for the laughs. Mark Graves jumps in with, between Circle K and Dutch Bros here in Arizona, it would take you forever. Don't keel at Dutch Bros.
Man, there's a line for 3 hours to get.
Now, what is Dutch Bros exactly?
It's like a little coffee place, drive-in coffee. No sit-in. It's just little
Dutch.
There you go.
Little shack.
What do you guys think about this? So I downloaded that MLB The Show video game, and I've been playing it because I'm in baseball mode now, and I was curious.
Look how quickly Rice flips the page. He's just that's it, baseball mode.
But anyway, so I was excited to see it's always fun to see what the players are rated, and so I noticed one big thing, which all of a sudden I knew this before, but it wasn't until I saw this visualized in MLB The Show and started playing and got so annoyed by it, is that we're ranked like 15 or above in like all the pitching stuff, 15 or above in like all the hitting, power, contact, everything is like either like top 15, top 10, and then we're dead last by a country mile in speed.
Oh yeah, speed.
Like I could use some speed. We had so much pressure on us this game with just like Acuna for like it's a whole different
kills.
thing. Yeah,
seriously, speed is an element. It's usually a big element of the game.
Slater, Gonzalez, and Estrada. Those are your best speed guys on the team.
And those guys are like 70, like max like 70 overall, like speed in
What's
MLB
the top?
Show.
80?
99. I mean,
where would you play a burner? I mean, Duggar's pretty fast. I mean, where would you play a burner on this team? They could have had Roman Quinn, right? He was DFA'd a few weeks ago by the Phils. He's electric fast.
Yeah. What positions he plays? Is he an infielder or outfielder?
Quinn, outfield. Yeah. Outfield. Michael Frank says, I'm absolutely sick right now. Longoria, Listella at bats. Crawford have to go. I'm throwing up my guts out. Oh wow!
I mean, it's
June 20th.
Yeah,
we got a lot of baseball. Let's not throw up our guts in June, right? Let's at least wait till after the All-Star break.
Weren't you surprised that Flores chased that 3-2 pitch in the dirt? I mean, that was a walk. Would have been the go-ahead run. Bottom of the top of the eighth.
That eighth inning
it wasn't a strike from the beginning.
So for those who missed it, Gonzalez reached on a bunt single in the eighth, and then Estrada singled to right center. Gonzalez went to third. It was a great play to go to third. Then Casale drew the walk. So you had the bags loaded, and you had Fried on the mound. They went to the bullpen for Will Smith. Listella flied out to left. And it was a great catch by Duvall. I mean, he came on the run. I mean, if that thing falls, obviously it's a much different inning. Slater singled to center, and that scored Gonzalez. So that tied the game. And then, as we're just describing here, Flores Cade swinging, and then Yaz grounded out to first. And it was bang, bang, but he was out. He was out, right? I mean, they showed it. It was pretty clear. It was very close, but he was out. But that was the wasted opportunity of the game right there. You had your guys up in a key situation, ducks on the pond, and you couldn't break through.
Oh, and the ninth. Like, can we please just get a sack fly? Isn't that hard?
Hey, they're leading the majors in sack flies, so they're doing okay there. They just couldn't do it tonight. But here's what I thought the Giants should have done.
Duvall walked the leadoff hitter.
Yeah.
I mean, that right there is like, I'd love to see the odds on that. When you walk the leadoff hitter, how often does that burn you?
Seems like it burns you a lot in the late innings. But
it does.
Here's what I thought the Giants should have done before this game even started was, I mean, how many times have they brought up Ramos for a game or two?
I have 3, but they might have to worry about that going forward. Options. I don't know how many options they have. I think there's limits to that, like 5 maybe?
There's 5. I'm not talking about Ramos. I thought they should have brought up Mercedes. What's his name?
Mercedes?
Yeah, Mercedes tonight as to be on the bench as a right-handed bat and be there.
He's happy to be a Giant. Did you see him dousing himself in was it champagne?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. So bring up Mercedes for the day. You don't need with Webb going. You can have one short reliever, and then send Mercedes back down because they're going to be facing righties. This is what they do. But perfect pinch hit spot for him when Listella came up with the bases loaded against Smith. If you're going to do all that platoon crap, you might as well carry it out. But if you're not, then let some of these guys play. But I'm just getting really frustrated with Longoria's at bats. 211. He if he hits the ball, it's hits weakly. Sometimes he finds a hole, or he's got 5 knocks. That's about it. But
who would you rather see there, though? I mean, like, let's just say you wanted to eat that deal. Who are you going to play at third every day?
With the current roster they have?
Are you talking about David VR or something like that?
Or Flores, and you can put you could even play Estrada there at times, and you can put somebody over at second. You could I like VR. I wish they'd go after the Andujar or not Joaquin. Is it
Miguel Andujar for the Yanks. Bombers
yeah,
sent
he
him
wants
down.
to be traded. Make a deal. Try and get a guy. He's got power. He's still in his 20s.
Carlo P says, relax.
I'm unrelaxed tonight.
Danny, I can't hear that. You're like Billy Bean in Moneyball. I can't leave here with that.
It's been 0 days since we've had a parade in the Bay Area, and
I'm just like, the lack of.
We'll get to our parade for sure.
Lack of clutch hitting. And I'm just tired of seeing.
You're just tired. You're sick and tired. You're sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Longoria's like 37 years old. He can't run. And
how dare he age?
And he's not available. I mean, the contract.
I hear you. It's like isn't it funny? They're so free of contracts for the most part, but the ones that they signed La Stella, that's looking a little dicey. And now they still have the Longoria deal. And that, you could make an argument that they would be better off if they could get out from underneath those two contracts and just move on.
Yeah, but what about Longoria's incredible power? I think he hit 15 home runs last year.
Yeah, that's monster power, right, Danny? All right, that's enough.
I think his bat slowed down. His bat speed. I think his bat speed's a little. I think his bat speed's a little slower. That's the first thing to go. You don't see the fastball as well. Ask any aging vet, and they say the hardest thing to do is catch up with a 98-mile-an-hour fastball as you get older.
I have not been able to hit 98 since I was like 47. I mean, I'm 52 now.
47? Man, it went quicker for me. It was 44 for me.
Really? 44? That's when you couldn't hit 97?
Yeah.
I
used to turn on it. At 43, I was pulling it foul like jock tonight.
You were dropping the head on that bad boy and circling the bases. Gonzo, I can't really say his last name, but he says, drop Duggar and pick up Lorenzo Cain. You want a little low Cain? You want to try a little low Cain? He's out there.
He's out there. I don't know how much that moves the needle. He's batting under 200 for the year, isn't he? Like 179 or something like that.
Michael Frank says you can't blame Farhan for that Longo deal. Robert Evans absolutely screwed the franchise. There you go.
I mean,
that is correct. You are correct, sir. That was not a Farhan deal.
No, I know it's not a Farhan deal. Yeah. Are they just gonna? Is the team that stuck on not letting go of any contract on the books? If they,
I bet you it's one of those deals where it's a whole lot easier to walk down the hall and tell Larry Bear and the owners that you want to dump a contract if that contract is Longoria's than it is if it's La Stella, right? If it's La Stella, you might look at you like, what? You signed La Stella, right? 3 years, $18 million. That's on you, buddy boy. Or, if you say Longoria, man, Evans saddled us with Longoria. Maybe you can, maybe that plays a little better. But either way, I don't know if it makes a huge difference. But man, the Giants, it's tough watching them lose some of these games because the bottom line is they've pitched okay in many of their losses this year, but it's just when you score 0, 1, or 2 in the big leagues, it's just hard to win. Home, road, doesn't matter. It's like if you can't if you can't put 4 or 5 runs on the board, I don't know that you can expect to win. I think that might be asking a little bit too much from your pitching staff. So they got to figure out a way to score 4 runs consistently and occasionally twice a week, whatever it is, put 5 or more on the board. If they can do that, I think they can win games. If they can't do that, then it's going to be a struggle all year. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Yeah, I mean, Fleming said on the broadcast something like that their last 11 home runs have been solos. So I don't know how much of that
solo bombs.
Is that just random luck and it's just unfortunate, or is it we're kind of just having a tough time with the timely hitting? I don't know.
I think it's just indicative. Right? I think it's indicative of what we're seeing. I mean, go back and look at the box scores. I mean, I don't have them all in front of me, but I can remember 3 times in the last week where they got 5 hits or less. And they're getting no hit in the 5th the other night. They've had some real. I mean, for a team whose offensive numbers on paper in a number of categories look actually decent.
Yeah.
They have these prolonged droughts, and it's hard to understand why, because they seem like they got a pretty good approach. There's a number of guys in the order that know the zone. But doesn't it seem like it? I mean, for a team that has, I mean, look where they rank in all these categories. It's not near the bottom. They rank decently in almost all of these offensive categories. But then you watch the product every night, and you're like, wow, they've gone 4 innings with no runs. They've gone 5 innings with no hits. And it just seems like it happens quite often.
It's a little Miami Heat-ish, the way that they, it seems like, okay, wow. Like, when they're playing well, it's like, I mean, this team can win the World Series. And then they just go on these prolonged offensive droughts that are just demoralizing. You never know when they're going to come and when they're going to snap out of it.
Well, listen to these batting averages of the Giants. Everybody who played tonight.
So sad.
And then I'll give you the Braves. Okay. I'm just going to run down the averages. 242, 236, 257, 223, 232, 211, 271, 308, 238.
Luis Gonzalez.
Yep.
Yeah.
264. That's Estrada. 232, Casale. Crawford, 224. La Stella, 243. Now listen to the Braves. 272, 293, 256, 248, 257. Their catcher. 227 Asuna, 206 Duvall, 338 Acacia, and then Harris. His is higher but it's 346. But but I mean,
you don't have to have everybody rolling, but you got to have a couple bats going at all times. Yeah. You got to have a couple guys who are hot. Early in the year they had Peterson and Belt, and then they had some injuries. Now they're kind of struggling to get it rolling. I do think they'll get it rolling better than it's rolling right now. But how many games are you gonna wind up coughing up? In what is almost guaranteed to be a nip and tuck wild card race in the National League for the final playoff spots. It's going to be close down the stretch. How many games do you plan on giving away because your offense is struggling? Tommy Huxley says the Giants offense is trash right now, man. Trash. Wouldn't be a post-game show unless somebody brought up trash.
We are still 7-3 in our last 10, despite losing 2 in a row.
It's important they beat the Braves, or at least walk away with a 2-game, split this 4-game series, because this is a 2-for-1. This is kind of the team you're tied with for that one of those wild card spots. You want to ideally win 3 out of 4, and it's going to be tough to do that now. Could have possibly done that had they won tonight, and now you're expecting them to come back and win 3 in a row, but just at least get out of Atlanta with a split. I mean, you don't want to go in there and lose.
They just lost 2 out of 3 to the Pirates, right?
No, they won 2 out of 3.
They won 2 out of 3. They won 2.
Dodgers.
Okay, that's true. They beat Pirates 2 out of 3.
It's just the way they're losing. Against the Pirates, they had opportunities. They didn't score. Here tonight, they left. I think they had 6 at bats with runners in scoring position, and
they got 1 hit.
One hit. Even the walk. I mean, I don't know what it is with pitchers or batters that swing at a ball that bad off in the dirt. They've got to make up their mind that they're swinging no matter what. Wherever this ball's going, I'm in swing mode, because the ball out of the hand, you could see it was short, and it just surprised me. And I'm not going to get on Flores because I like Flores. I think he's one of their
pretty
better
hard to hit baseball on the big.
I mean, you have your favorites. You get your sacred cows. We know.
Yeah, I like Flores. He usually comes through more often than not in difficult situations. But you're not
representing him as far as his investment portfolio, are you? Just want to make sure. Gonzo says Crawford's an instant out and needs a haircut. Oh, now we're going haircut?
That's just like Samson now? Cut his hair and all his strength is gone?
We can't be going out of guys' hair. Nick Carasillo said Craw needs that hair, so when he dives at a ball that most shortstops make look routine, he can have that hair flowing for the Sports Center top 10.
I don't know how I feel about this Crawford.
Gonzo says, you think Crawford uses Prel? I haven't seen Prel in a long time.
I'm not sure what Prel is.
Prel is green. It was a green shampoo, and I can't really say. I think it was kind of harsh. Danny, do you remember Prel?
Never used it. Saw it on the shelf.
To me,
I don't have firsthand experience with it, but I'm aware of the brand.
if I had to guess, I'm thinking Crawford goes no shampoo, only conditioner. That's the kind of hair.
Only conditioner? Is that even healthy?
Yeah, if you go
You're talking Prel and conditioner, man. I'm talking.
Do you like conditioner?
I'm talking Schick for my hair.
Danny, whatever Danny uses, don't use that. No, but
Danny, do you just use deodorant?
Yeah, what do you do? Do you go body wash on that bad boy?
My head?
Yeah. What do you scrub? Do you scrub?
Oh yeah, I use shampoo, but
you still use shampoo? Seems like a waste. Seems like a waste.
I still got some nubs that need clean.
Okay. Do you like that shampoo and conditioner all in one? I mean, or do you feel like it seems like a lot. It seems like the miracle product.
Go with the Suave, the 99-cent all-in-one. There you go. That's what I basically use.
Oh, wait a second.
I'm not going to.
Val says go Suave. Do you go Suave?
Suave.
Danny, you go Suave?
I have some Suave, yeah, because it's cheap, and I'm not going to buy no Nexus for my head. Look at that.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Man will invest your money, and he will save money on Nexus. There's not going to be any fancy designer shampoos. Just a little something. Just a little.
Dan, when did you start to lose it?
Shoot, started losing it in my 20s.
Okay, yeah.
Did you go instant shave?
No, I went.
Did you fight it? You fight the good fight?
Back in the day,
I never did the comb over. I refused to do the comb over.
All the way over?
No. Just keep it short on top, and when I had hair, it was short on top, kind of little spike. And then
how about a little Nivea on that dome? Jay Stamps 101 says he definitely uses Nivea 3-in-1.
Nivea. Oh, okay.
Nivea. That's very costly. That's very, very costly shampoo.
That comes in a blue one, doesn't it? Jay Stamps.
Basically, now we have people weighing in on shampoo. Todd McLean, only shampoo twice a week at most. Condition every day. Oh, look at that. It's one to grow on right there. It's like an after-school special.
No. I remember.
Here we go. Herbal Essence. Danny, have you thought about Herbal Essence?
No.
I don't know what that is either.
Do you ever? What's that stuff that you can rub on your melon to make the stuff grow back? Do you ever do that? You ever try that?
Rogaine. What's the active ingredient?
Yeah. Does that work? Does that Rogaine stuff kind of work?
I tried it for a while and said, "Screw it, too expensive." I was just like, I'll live with it.
You did try it though for a while.
Sure. Yeah. And I said,
what didn't you like about it?
It's an expense. I wasn't gonna,
Have you ever thought about doing like a Chris Berman, like the spray tan, kind of the Widow's Peak spray?
I want a Jason Tatum haircut.
What about? Have you ever thought about plugs? Or is that like playing with PEDs?
What's that?
What did you say? Plugs?
Yeah, they're getting pretty good nowadays from everybody, all these celebrities.
Seriously, the first 1,000 are free. They don't tell you that you're going to need like 45,000 plugs to make it all happen. But the first 1,000 are free.
Just like artificial turf, huh?
Oh man. I actually the only commercial I ever turned down was, seriously, I mean, one of the only commercials I ever turned down. I shouldn't say the only one, because I did turn down a few. But one that I turned down like right away was they're like, hey, we've got this plastic surgeon, and he's got this new formula where you can freeze your fat. And I'm like, what? Heck, yeah, you can freeze your fat. Yeah, you can actually freeze it, and it just drops right off. I'm like, that sounds so awful. There's no chance in hell I'm doing that. I go, I don't have a huge audience, but I definitely are going to have a smaller audience if I start freezing my fat. All right? How do you sound like a normal person when you're freezing your fat? This is Larry Krueger for freezeyourfat.com. I mean, come on.
I thought you were going somewhere else when you said you got this surgeon. I said, oh, boy.
Larry, your fat is fresh, never frozen.
Yeah, I'm not I want my fat. I'm going to keep it, okay? Yeah. And stay away from my goddamn fat, all right? Get away from it. Get your hands off it. You can't have this fat, all right?
This was a baseball show.
You sure as hell can't freeze it.
I thought we were talking baseball show, and Larry turned down a commercial for a bigger bat.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. Yes, try this product. You'll be ready to go every time. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh,
People the chat, Dr. Rosinelli is getting lots of mentions here. More Rosinelli.
Yeah, he did Rick Barry.
Tom Huxley, dial soap on your hair makes it turn gray. Tommy, don't believe that crap. It's a lie. All right. Wait a second. I used to love listening to Larry's Sleep Number commercials. His voice was very catchy. Thank you. My Sleep Number setting is 70. My wife's is 55. I'm here all night. Tip your waitresses. All right.
And the
Giants lose the game. Rye was at the parade. Let's talk a little parade. Should we talk a little parade? Or
Let's
Danny, do you have more bitching and moaning about the Giants?
I got just a little bit more. Let me get it out.
Do you have more pitching and moaning?
Yeah, let me think of something.
All
I
right,
can definitely come up with something. All right.
Todd says, didn't Gary refuse to do all the commercials? That's right. Gary did not want to do the commercials.
No, I definitely think the Giants need some kind of spark. They're missing what they were missing last year was, I think, the leadership of Posey in the lineup just stabilized the team.
And just his play. I mean, he was an awesome player as far as he was a two-way player.
Yeah, he's a two-way player. He's just, the guy hit 300 his final season against, what is it that nobody can even hit 250 in this lineup except Gonzalez and Peterson and Estrada? I mean, I don't know. I just, Estrada – he's not.
Who's going? Tom Huxley says who's pitching tomorrow. I think it's Snyder.
I think it might be just DeSclafani for the.
Is it DeSclafani against Snyder? I think somebody named Snyder is going for the. Is that it? Did I see that right?
I'll have to look.
For the Braves. It said I looked it up at the end of the game. It said somebody for the Braves. I thought it said Snyder and undecided for the Giants.
Yeah,
maybe it is DeSclafani.
Spencer
Strider.
What is
Strider.
it?
Spencer
Strider. What is his Strider.
Didn't I? What was those shoes?
Strider.
Strider. What are those shoes you get for the walking shoes for babies? What are those? Strider. What were those? Were those
Stride right?
Stride right. The little white boots you put on your kid as he first starts to walk.
Look at you, making sure those kids walk correctly. Stride right. Danny.
Spencer Stride right goes against undecided tomorrow.
You're a good dad. You're going for the Stride right shoes.
That's right. Those little high
Stride right shoes, were they like they made it so you didn't walk weird? Like when you developed?
Yeah, and they were.
Yeah, what was the deal with Stride Right? I have to go ask my wife.
You guys ever use the helmets? I know those are pretty popular nowadays for younger kids.
What,
the helmets. Now there's a new gimmick where you pay thousands of dollars to put a helmet on your young child that's probably really uncomfortable in order to make sure that their head grows perfectly symmetrical.
I actually know somebody who did that.
Yeah. They're really popular now, apparently.
Put a helmet and a mask on them at a year and a half.
Get a helmet going. You know what? I'll tell you this. In baseball, there's an awful lot of kids in our league that are using the mouth guard.
Oh, really?
It's like, it used to be like there would be like the kid with the mouth guard. Now it's like the kid who's not wearing the mouth guard.
Steph Curry changed the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of helmets,
Speaking of helmets, you know how many different directions I could have taken that? Speaking of helmets,
watching the College World Series, these guys are wearing.
Stanford's out. You see that? Auburn knocked him out. Bye, Stanford.
But they wear the full helmet in college, and they come to the pro and they wear the one flap. And did you see who was it that got hit the other night?
What do you mean they wear double flap helmets?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do.
It's kind of a weird look, huh?
It is, but it's safer.
For them to maybe wear like the Aaron Rodgers, like the single.
Somebody got hit in the head the other night. I'm trying to remember.
The old Joe Theismann one bar.
Just for no reason.
Punch a guy in the face, like right through the helmet.
Garo Yepremian.
Yeah, I was one. That was a bad look, man. I don't care. I don't care if you can see better. The one bar, you look like an air traffic controller. Everybody else is a football player, and you've got the one bar.
I always had the two bar with the. I like the double bar.
Remember the giant hats that were like kind of helmet hats?
No.
Wait,
the giant hats?
Didn't that happen in the majors? And like pitchers wore them. Oh, I gotta look this up.
Oh no, they talked about that, right? Didn't they like to protect your head?
Oh, what's
Yeah,
funny
man.
is I searched.
There was a
giant
number of pictures.
pitchers
Wasn't
hat.
there was a Padre pitcher who wore that ridiculous helmet. You look like Kazoo.
I searched.
You know?
The problem is I searched giant pitcher's hat, and then it's just giant San Francisco Giants.
MF says, is Ned coming on this week? You know what? I just texted with him earlier today, so I forgot to pick a day. So we'll he's definitely coming on this week, I would imagine. I'm not sure what day though. I'll definitely get that tomorrow though. MF.
Yeah. Somebody asked if he drafted Trace Thompson.
How do I take a guy seriously whose handle is MF?
I thought Trace Thompson came up in the White Sox and was traded to the Dodgers. I can't remember, or if he came up with the Dodgers and then went to the White Sox.
Trace is back with there it is. Now that's a goofball look. I don't care what anybody says.
It's so goofy.
It's funny. I think
goodness.
Krueger even said that's goofy looking.
Well,
Alex Torres wore it. I mean, it's like,
Look at that. It looks like
what
a
the heck is
melon
that?
head. That's
You know what? I
talking
think my dad, when I was complaining, or my dad was complaining about the hat that was too high, maybe he just bought one of these accidentally. He searched
Heck?
giant pitcher's hat and got a giant hat.
I think I'd rather die than wear that hat.
Guy looks like a Martian on the Padres there.
I mean, I mean, you got, if you look good, you feel good, or if you look good, you play good, right? I mean, that isn't.
Yeah, like Luis Gonzalez with those
Looks like a
orange
shot.
shoes.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I should embrace the hat. We haven't seen that too much, by the way. The monster hat. That was like a fad.
Monster hat!
Monster hat. Yeah, but the Dodgers, that was weird. Out of nowhere today, there was a rumor the Dodgers were going to trade for an outfielder. And like hours later, here comes Trace Thompson, who I thought he was never getting another shot again. And I'm God bless him. I'm rooting for him because I'm a big fan of Michael Thompson. I'm a big fan of Klay Thompson. And I was hoping the Giants would get Trace Thompson at one point.
Klay would have loved that.
But clearly he's not. He's just good enough to be good in the minors, but just
Toad. What are you putting Toad up there for?
That's what Rebel 444 said. It looks like Toad from Mario.
it's a bad look, man.
Hey, he's fast though. We could use him on the bases, Toad.
Toad, yeah.
He screams.
Gonzo, the great Gazoo. I thought it was Kazoo, but whatever. From the Jetsons. Do you guys remember that? Or from the Flintstones?
I watched it, but it's
Danny and Flintstone Rise. Like, what the hell's Flintstones?
I watched it.
Is that Mo
Yeah,
Pete and Teen Cleaves?
They sell some pretty good vitamins, actually.
Like
Those vitamins are ass. What are you talking
You had
about?
him as a kid.
Those things
You
are
get him as a
awful.
kid.
I mean, if a couple Flintstones vitamins, I mean, that's just the most foul thing of all time.
Tastes bad
Yeah,
and
they
have
should make
sugar.
him like sweet-tarts. Should have made them like sweet tarts. That would have been good. But
Just
Throw mix in a couple sweet tarts in there. Nobody would know the difference.
control group.
It had a kind of similar consistency. It was like a sweet tart with like a bad aftertaste.
Yeah, exactly. To make it feel like it was healthy.
It was healthy, and then all of a sudden it's like,
I tried giving those to my kids and then tried them, and they're horrible.
I might have to clip that. Those vitamins are ass.
They were. I mean, it seriously was. It was sweet tarts with an aftertaste. I mean, it was like drinking O'Doul's. Have you ever had an O'Doul's?
Yeah.
Not had the pleasure.
You have?
I have not.
Have you ever had a non-alcoholic beer?
No.
Yeah, non-alcoholic beer.
I mean, that might be the worst drink in America. Non-alcoholic
A
beer.
little bit of alcohol in them. So it's like
Seriously,
alcoholic
my
drink.
brother invited us to 4th of July at his house one time, and I'm like, hey, I mean, when I invite my people to my house, I've got like, Sprite, Coke. If it's 4th of July, maybe I'll have like Sun-Kissed or Orange Crush for the kids. Maybe some
Pepsi?
root.
Coke over Pepsi?
Oh, hell yes. Coke over
I'm
Pepsi.
a Pepsi guy. Pepsi all the way.
Oh, wait a second.
I'm
That's
getting
worth
muted.
Such a
that's not.
There you go.
Goodbye, Danny.
Dan with his hockey.
Pepsi, Dan. Pepsi. Really? That's a 2-minute major right there. Pepsi. Well, get Danny. What's the Sprite version of Pepsi? What's that called?
Oh God!
It's kind of like something fresh or something.
Sierra
isn't it?
Mist
Sierra Mist. Go get yourself a Sierra Mist.
or 7-Up. Wait, is it 7?
No, 7-Up makes me feel like I'm ill because every time I was a kid and I was ill, my mom would get some 7-Up. It's like it almost makes you want to throw up because you're like associated with being ill.
Yeah.
But no, Coke is a million times Coke, Sprite. So I'll do that, right? I went to my brother's house on the 4th of July a few years ago. He's like, what would you like? I'm like, what do you got? He's like, beer. I'm like, all right, I'll have a beer. I'm like, he's like, or I got water or I have blue soda. I'm like, blue soda? What's blue soda? And he's like, I don't know. It's blue soda. So it was water, blue soda, or beer. Needless to say, I drank a ton of beer. I mean, I was throwing down the beer. Who wants to drink blue soda?
Oh God, I don't know why. Okay, Tommy.
I mean, if you're gonna have people at your house, you're having a barbecue at your house. It's 4th of July. This is an important conversation now. Do we bring Danny back? I mean,
we should.
Seriously, he was advocating for Sierra Mist.
Wait, right before you go off, Larry, I do want to get to 2 comments. O'Doul's walked so Impossible Burgers could run. That's great. And then also, Tommy Huxley, I know exactly the drink he's talking about, but man, does it sound dirty.
Mexican squirt. What about RC Cola? What's your most underrated drink of all time? Because to me, as a kid, I used to like Fresca. Don't crap on Fresca. And do you guys remember that soda called Rondo? Do you remember Rondo? No, it was kind of like a squirt type situation, but it was kind of like a Mountain Dew.
Okay,
Rondo.
Soda.
Anyway, Mark Graves is like, blue soda sounds toxic. I'm telling you, hey, would you like a beer, water, blue soda? I'm like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. All right, if you're having a barbecue, 4th of July, and you're going to have 20, 30 people over, what drinks are you putting in the cooler?
All right, you got to pick 2 popular ones and 1 wild card.
Okay, don't tell me like a White Claw or something like that.
No. But
crazy.
One that's a little outside the box, but people would still enjoy. All right.
Danny's coming over. Make sure you get him some Zimas.
All right. I feel like you got to take care of your. There's the 2 different spectrums. There's kind of the dark. That's kind of the Coke. You could go Coke. You could go Dr. Pepper. I'm going to go Coke. And then there's the other side of it where you have to have a Sprite or a Sierra Mist of some sort.
Val Ramos says go Fanta. Like Fanta Orange. I do like Fanta Orange.
We had little kitties, but if it's if it's people more my age or older, I would say a surprise cream soda. I enjoy the cream soda. Yeah, as a root beer alternative.
Wait a second, Steve Supremo. They were good. Oh my God.
Oh Jesus.
Oh my God. Get that man a wine cooler. You know what I mean? Danny, do you remember wine coolers? Bartles and James? No, you're back, right? We unmuted you.
Oh, wait.
I guess we did. Should we unmute him? I guess let's unmute him. All right, he's back. Dan, you're back.
Yeah, I even had to go through the chat and put up my own comments that unmute me now.
Did you? You went into the chat? Oh, that's worth muting right there. You can't go into the chat.
Ooh.
The chat is the domain of the chatters. You're a host. All right.
Ollie Palmer.
You're a host, Dan. No, now he's looking for the yawn off button. No, you're off. You're just off. You went into the chat. Where is it? Do I see it?
Yeah, he did. He said, unmute me.
Where is it? Oh, look at that. Unmute me now. What are you, Trump, with your all capitals and your exclamation points? Oh my God. Unmute me now. Now. Do it now. All right, Danny, we'll bring you back. We've muted you a number of times today.
Wait, I think you just. Oh, yep.
There's a drive. Slater hits a shot to left field. That thing is out of here.
Danny's scaring us. Mark Graves says Dr. Pepper and cream soda is delicious.
Oh,
yeah. Mark Graves is mixing Dr. Pepper and cream soda. Hey, do you guys remember Cherry Coke? What's the difference between Cherry Coke? What's the difference between Cherry Coke and Dr. Pepper?
Dr. Pepper's better.
There's
Dr. Pepper's better than Cherry Coke?
Cherry Coke has a little bit more of or Dr. Pepper in a non-gross way has a little bit more of like a prunish type thing rather than a
Mr. Pibb. That was another one that copied.
What's Coke? What the hell is Coke Zero?
Coke Zero is bull.
Have you had it?
Well, it's okay. I actually know a guy who's behind the scenes with a lot of this.
A guy who knows a guy who might be able to hook us up?
There's a guy who knows Pasquale. All right, I'm going to leave it at that. But anyway, he was telling me that their big thing that they work on is trying to find alternatives to sugar and different things, different chemicals that people don't.
Grew up with a Sunday dinner.
Hey, honestly, that's a good drop. You just leave it.
We grew up with a Sunday dinner. That means no matter how busy you were, no matter where the hell you were.
You got to drop a hell in there, no matter where the hell you were.
But anyway, so
there's not enough references to hell in modern commercials. Would you guys agree? Seriously, you can watch commercials for weeks before anybody will say hell.
That's true.
That's, seriously,
Hey,
that's
tell
what
me
we
where you
bring
can
that
get
other
a-
shows don't bring.
Tell me where you can get a Coke and a hot dog for $1.50. Where can you get a Coke and a hot dog?
Augusta National.
Oh wow, that is pretty.
Where can you go?
Good answer.
Where can you
huh?
go? Right.
Was that a good answer? Good
can you
answer.
go to-
It's like
where can you
Family
go
Feud.
today?
Good answer.
Where can you go today in the Bay Area and get a Coke and a hot dog for $1.50?
And a smile.
Do you want to?
Costco.
No, you get Pepsi.
I know. God, what's up with
that's
Costco?
Right.
What's up with Costco? There used to be at my local Costco, there used to be like a Coke machine that you could get a bottle of Coke for $1, right? And which is a screaming deal. And then all of a sudden one day, woof, it's gone, and there's some massive Pepsi push. I'll tell you, you want to turn me off, sign your stadium to a Pepsi only deal. I mean, seriously, Pepsi. I mean, and then I heard that Pepsi's got more sugar and it's worse for your teeth and it's really bad. And it's like, it's even worse for you than Coke. Why would you? It's nowhere close to as good as Coke, right? Am I missing it?
Can you respond?
I like Pepsi.
Nick says, yes, sir, Larry. Good call. Thank you, Nick. That's why I went to your thing, because you agreed with me. Danny, what were you going to say?
You're
speechless.
I'll drink a Coke, but I just like the taste of Pepsi a little better. But I don't like regular Pepsi. It's I don't like regular Coke or Pepsi. I like diet. Just too much sugar for me when I drink a regular.
Totes McGoat, you guys are all over the place. LOL. Yeah, we are all over the place today.
That's all right.
All right.
Well, shoot, I had something else I was going to ask you, but
we asked you if we can move off of the Giants. If your anger if you've
should I go put my relaxed shirt on?
Danny, do you just have to cover your eyes every time you look out in the left field at AT&T or at Oracle Park?
What left field?
Just that giant, beautiful Coke bottle.
Coke bottle.
Oh, the Coke bottle. I like.
Hey, let's all slide down the Pepsi bottle. I mean, it just doesn't matter. It's not the same. It's not the same.
Well,
here we go. Tony D. Coke is better than Pepsi.
It's a personal.
Code Red Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew. Supposedly Mountain Dew. The Mountain Dew supposedly will keep you up all night, right? Isn't that tons of caffeine in Mountain Dew?
Yeah, I got addicted to it in college. Does Ned like cantaloupe? These are the questions we need answered.
MF, does Ned like cantaloupe? Let's bottle that and we'll save that.
I actually would say,
what if we started?
Yes.
Hey, Ned, before we get rolling tonight, a quick question from the other night in the chat. He's thinking it's going to be some really thoughtful, great baseball question. Do you like cantaloupe?
Follow-up question. I'd like you to power rank your melons by season.
Exactly. Oh no, here we go. J Stamps 101. Don't sleep on that Safeway Signature Select soda. Oh man, that's like taking me back to the 70s in Cragmont. Do you guys remember?
Oh yeah.
Do you guys remember Cragmont?
Yeah, Cragmont. That was a Safeway product.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, Cragmont. If I have to drink one Cragmont or like generic Safeway Select, give me the grapefruit soda.
Yeah, I was going to say the grapefruit.
Just
yeah,
says grape soda.
Grapefruit
No,
soda.
not grape soda. Not grape soda. Grapefruit soda.
That was in my refrigerator growing up all the time.
You like a little grapefruit soda? Yeah, you did, didn't you?
A grapefruit Italian soda, whatever they do with the Italian soda. Big fan.
Italian soda just means it's a lot more expensive, by the way. Val Ramos says Shasta. Do you guys remember Shasta?
Yeah, Shasta.
Beyond my ears.
I remember all of that.
All of those off-brand things bring me back to college and just like plastic handles of vodka and just warm.
Cheapest beer you could ever. Now, what was your cheap beer of college? Because we drank Old Milwaukee's Best, and then we also drank those ones with the Lucky Lager. The Lucky Lager.
Yeah, Lucky
the
Lager.
Worst beer, though, I'd have to say, far and away the worst beer I've ever had. Mickey's Big Mouth.
Oh yeah, well that's a different experience.
Mickey's Big Mouth is the ass of beers.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it
the
was awful.
vitamin of beers.
You know the one that
It's
was
just
in
like I'd rather drink water.
You guys remember Olympia? That was in my fridge as a kid growing up. My dad, that's all he bought was Olympia.
We did a lot of
Remember that?
Busch Light.
Pabst Blue Ribbon, Keystone. Remember Stroh's? Alex from Stroh's, the dog? You guys remember Alex from Stroh's? Oh, right. You got to go back. Some great commercials there. Alex from Stroh's. Tony D says Mickey's malt is malt liquor.
Yeah, it's malt.
I don't mind a little malt liquor. I just don't like Mickey's.
Yeah.
You want to drop me some Old E? I'm all over it.
With Mickey Mouse liquor.
You know?
Urine. Hey, wait a minute. 9/16/49. Yeah, what is that?
Urine is better than Pepsi.
I think that might be Felipe Alou.
That's
Tony D, Mad Dog 2020. There you go.
Let me ask you, 91649er. Have you tell us about your experience with that?
Rebel 444, Keystone and Natty Light or water.
Facts.
Yeah.
Busch Light as well.
King Cobra. St. Ides. We're gonna vote for St. Ides. I'll tell you a beer that I really did not like that everybody else was like, dude, you're gonna love it. You're just absolutely gonna love it.
Wait, can I guess?
Sure. It's kind of like a micro brew, and it's actually brewed in San Francisco.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
that should give it away right there.
Anchor?
Yes, Anchor. I can't go Anchor. I've had the Anchor steam, but I can't. It's like there's something about it. It just doesn't sit right with me.
What kind of beer does Boch keep in the fridge? I'm thinking Coors Light, maybe.
Get a beer.
If he's feeling frisky, some Pabst.
Dan Coccimilgio, sit down, get a beer.
Well, might as well just go Pacifico at that point.
I miss Boch, man. It's Traeger.
Me too. Anyway.
All right, we are all over the place tonight. But let's talk parade. Parade. What was the experience like? I mean, big day for the Warriors. I was happy to see it. Lots of people down there. Kind of, it was weird how they did the ceremony and then they paraded as opposed to the other way around. I'm not really sure why. It was probably financial based deal, but it was the shortest parade of all time. It was like 1 mile straight. And the guys got out of the cars and walked the course, which is cool. I'm just happy. You know what I was most happy for? Guys like GP2.
Hell
because these guys are going through it for the first time and they're out there and it's like the fans are soaking it in. And it's just, I just love this basketball team. I told you guys many times throughout the year that I just love this team this year. They had a great vibe. They had a great chemistry. And then, you know what I think is it kind of pissed me off is that, if you go back, two things pissed me off about Game 6 of the finals that I didn't bring up before. Okay. At the end of the game, Van Gundy is immediately like, this is the worst of the Warrior teams. This is the least talented. Why do you got to say that? It's like, it's tacky. It's really tacky. But then if you really want to know about East Coast bias, if you taped Game 6, how many of you if you tape Game 6, raise your hand. Wow, look at how many people in the audience are raising their hand. Do you see how I did that, Danny? It's just a theater of the mind right there.
Yeah.
But if you taped Game 6, go back and listen to, because I watched it again last night. Go back and listen to halftime of Game 6. And they go around the dais up there, and it's Greeny, Wilbon, Stephen A., and Jalen Rose.
Yeah.
Listen to their comments because that's when they let their guard down in Game 6. Okay. When I say let their guard down, they've been trying to pretend that they're a national broadcast, but they're not. They're not. They're shills for the Northeast. And it didn't show itself until halftime of Game 6. Go back and look and listen to their commentary at halftime of Game 6. It should have been, wow, this Warrior team is awesome. Look at these guys. They just took the Celtics' best punch on the road, and they just delivered the knockout blow. Man, this is one of the great teams we've seen. Wow, what a performance. They just took this Celtic team apart. Every single guy on the panel sounded angry and frustrated and laid out some scenario for the Celtics to get back in the game. And the Celtics, they got to do this. And I'll tell you this, they got to do that.
Even
and I'll tell you
this,
they got to do this and that. And they didn't do this, and they didn't do everything that was said at halftime of Game 6. You would have thought you're listening to the Boston Celtics television network. You would have thought that you stumbled into a Celtic broadcast. Why? Because every single guy on the panel spoke at halftime with anger and frustration, and it all was directed towards the Celtics and what they're quote unquote not doing. And instead of looking at the Warriors as the champions that they are, they've already got 3 rings. Now the same group's going to have 4, and talking about how incredible and how stunning this incredible turnaround was in the first half, and crediting the team that's obviously walking towards a title. Instead, they showed us their ass by basically showing us that they cared more about the Celtics, and that they were somehow frustrated that the Celtics were out, and that what the Celtics had to do, and the damn Stephen A. Smith was getting ready to bury the Celtics, and Jalen Rose was telling they better do this, and Michael Wilbon, they better do that. It was all like they were just rah Celtics, like everything in their entire perspective was tied to not what the Warriors were doing, but what the Celtics were not doing. Not what the Warriors were on the verge of doing. It was what the Celtics were on the verge of, in their mind, coughing up. It was so blatantly their position, and what they actually cared about was so on display right there. Did you guys tape Game 6?
Yeah, I didn't, but
go watch halftime later. When
I do remember the halftime, and I would say this: Stephen A. was probably ticked because he picked the Warriors to win from the start, but he picked the Celtics to win in Game 6. He almost changed his mind because he thought the Warriors might finish him off. So he was probably ticked that he didn't get his Game 7 prediction right. He's already on record saying the Warriors will win it again next year. So
yeah, I mean, and that's great, and we'll get into that too. I mean, I don't know who you guys consider the number one contender. You know, if the Warriors are the champ, who's the number one contender in the NBA going into next year? I definitely want your thoughts on that. But I mean, seriously, where's the objectivity? You're supposed to be a national broadcast. You're not supposed to be Boston Celtics television. And here's Game 6, and the Warriors are on the verge of slapping this team around for the 3rd night in a row. That team has never won jack shit. This team's won 3 titles, and you can't even pause off of your Boston Celtic, speaking point to acknowledge the dynasty that's right in front of your nose. I mean, I sat there and was laughing. I'm going, you know what? This is where they showed everybody where they're truly coming from, because guess what? They're not thinking about objectivity or professionalism. They're in the moment. They just watched Warriors Celtics Game 6 first half, and they've got to make sense of it, and they've got to have some commentary. But instead of just, wrapping themselves in the obvious victor and saying, wow, we're seeing a coronation of greatness, and give Draymond his and give Kerr and Steph and Clay and give these guys some love. Instead, it's like Northeast sports talk 101, hyper negative, highlight the negative. Well, it's not what the Warriors, nobody ever wins. It's like everybody loses. Oh, this team lost to that team and this team lost to that team. How about one of those teams won? Why don't we celebrate the team that's winning instead of just blaming the team that's losing for what? For being second best? I mean,
Mark Graves.
What are we doing here, guys?
Mark Graves is blaming Ryan.
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, I think a big part of it's funny if you look back at the run. It's like they talk about, well, Jaw was not, after the series, it's like, well, Jaw was injured, and then after the Dallas series, oh, they beat him in 5. Oh, this Dallas team wasn't actually that good. Phoenix collapsed, and that's how everyone talked themselves into the Warriors not being as good as they actually are. I think that Dallas team actually is good, and then because they took apart the Celtics, they had all those turnovers. I think part of it is like you go into it and you have these narratives, and the narrative is Golden State's got this electric offense. They've got Steph Curry. And then Boston has, maybe the best defense of this generation. That's what people were saying coming in. And then it's like, well, it kind of broke their brains because, the Warriors, it's not like they were putting up 120 Boston's defense for the most part did their job. It was the Warriors defense that actually outplayed the Celtics defense and caused all these turnovers and stuff.
They didn't have an answer for their defense. Tatum was pretty bad, I think.
He had poo-poo in his butt. He's a little young for the stage.
He was shut down.
Ryan's got to be muted for the poo-poo in the butt. I mean, if we're gonna take Danny out back and just beat him up over little stuff, poo-poo in the butt, I think. I don't know. I mean,
yeah, we were talking about stride right earlier tonight. Maybe Ryan's kind of.
I'll throw it to the chat. Does poo-poo in the butt reference, which I think Rise had the poo-poo in the butt reference like at least 3 or 4 other times in previous chats. Is that mute worthy? Danny?
Well, yeah, I think Ryan's going back to thinking about stride right shoes, and he's going back to his infant days.
Nick Caracillo says thank you. I think he's not feeling the poo-poo in the butt. Totes my goats. Ha, poo-poo. Yeah. I mean, if this were like a 5th grade birthday party, Rye would be like a hero. Are you kidding me? They'd be like, poo-poo in the butt. Oh, yes, he is our guy. He is our guy. I love that guy. He's hilarious. Are you kidding me? That guy is awesome. But on the Krug show, Nick Caracillo says monster mute. Danny, can you give him a monster mute? You're muted. Here we go. Dan Coccimilgio describing Ryan Smith's poo-poo in the butt comment from earlier, which got Ryan put in the penalty box, officially muted. Dan Coccimilgio, ladies and gentlemen.
Ryan goes for the comment. He goes for
a little louder.
Oh, I was giving him a mute.
Oh.
The mute is quiet. So Ryan goes for the poo-poo in the butt comment, and he is silenced.
He needs a kipe. You're out of here.
Okay, here we go. Ryan goes for the poo-poo in the butt, and he's out of here.
There we go. Kevin Stevens says, Ryan, that was awesome. Toads McGoats, Ryan, talk to my 7-year-old son. Mark Graves, Ryan covering all target market ages. Yeah, exactly. All right. Now we'll bring them back. We'll bring them back. But I mean, the poo-poo in the butt thing, it's a trend that has to end. I mean, it's can I ask where you got that? I mean, because it's part of your repertoire. Where did you get that? I mean, it's like Fernando threw a screwball and everybody always asked him, where'd you get that screwball, Fernando? You've got poo-poo in the butt, and we're going to ask you, where did you pick that up along the way?
It's the kind of thing where like maybe I'm playing video games against a friend and there's a little more to it. Like, let's say we're playing like FIFA or something, and I score 3 goals and he's not doing anything and he starts to look flustered. And then you go, oh, let's say, for example, it's Andrew. Oh, does Andrew have poo-poo in his butt? Like he's a little baby. He's
baby talk.
Okay, so it's quite a repertoire.
Baby talk almost gets you muted again.
Oh, yeah. You're going baby.
I mean, seriously. Yeah. I mean, baby.
Ryan goes from...
Then it evolves to you just say, oh, dude.
Ryan goes from last week to dropping 4 F-bombs on the show to poo-poo.
Yeah.
We got this one from MF. He says, is Pecan coming on soon? He's not coming on tonight, but I can check with Pecan. We'd love to have him on because he's my bro going way back. Tony D says, hey, Larry, why do guys like Tim Kawakami and Dieter dislike Bob Fitzgerald so much? They were ripping him on Twitter today. you'd have to ask those guys. I don't know. I can't really comment on media crime. I will say this: I respect all three of those guys. I respect Kawakami because he doesn't just butter everybody's muffin, and I respect Dieter because I think Dieter's a pretty smart guy, and I of course respect my good friend Bob Fitz, who I've known forever, and I love him like a brother. So, I really don't have anything to say. I mean, I think it's pretty clear that there's some animosity between these people, but other than that, I don't have any insight. It's not like, hey, 7 years ago, somebody did something. No, I don't think there's anything like that. I think it's just, when we're all in the media game, myself included, big mouth know-it-alls. All right. I'm a big mouth know-it-all. Kawakami, the same. Dieter, the same. Fitz, the same. We're trying to develop Dan and Ryan into being big mouth know-it-alls as well. So if you do this, if you got a microphone, if you got a blue Yeti in front of you, you're a big mouth know-it-all who thinks that you can just make a bad call off pitch and suddenly you're a hero, or you can say poo-poo in the butt and suddenly you've got a website, you know what I mean? So all I would say is we're all big mouth know-it-alls. And that's probably the best way I can describe it.
Speaking
Do you think
Dieters,
that's a good way to describe it, right? Anybody in front of a mic is a big mouth know-it-all?
Speaking of Dieters here, I want to test some age on.
Was Gary
on
a big
Ryan.
mouth know-it-all? Absolutely, of course he was. And if you see him, tell him I said it.
let me
big
test,
mouth know-it-alls.
Let me test Ryan's
Gary had a
knowledge
little bit more
here.
perspective than most.
All right.
I want to
Go
test
ahead, Danny.
Ryan's knowledge here for Dieters, since we're talking about Dieter, the Bay Area sports.
And yes,
writer.
we can get Tim on the show. Tim's a phenomenal guest, and he does a great podcast. We'll get him on. We will.
So Dieter for 500, Ryan. Name this former quarterback of the LA Rams.
I think that's you were going to just give us that, just to name a former quarterback.
Name a single one? I don't.
Dieter.
Dieter Brock.
This is Dieter's for 500. Okay.
I
I was trying to see if Ryan
ever
ever heard of Dieter Brock. Have you heard of Dieter Brock?
Look at Danny trying to use your youth against you.
Yeah.
Ask him about some gamer.
Yeah. Ask me something.
I've got holes in my gamer game as well.
Like, who was that gamer during the NFL draft who announced the Niners' third-round pick? I'm watching this guy, and I'm like, who the hell is this guy? And I'm like looking at him going, it's got to be some video gamer. My kid walked in the room and was like, Dad, that's blah, 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 blah. I'm like, sorry.
I don't know anything about gaming.
Do you want to hear something extremely disturbing? So you know how so I didn't even let you answer, but you know how like kids nowadays, like I'm saying it like I'm some 40-year-old person. Like I guess I am a kid. My friends do it too. But they watch people play video games, like the video games that they play. They watch people, and it kind of makes sense, I guess. It's like, well, they're the best at it, and it's cool and whatever.
I actually had a guy contact me last year and asked me if I wanted to broadcast people playing video games.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But anyway,
really,
this is I wouldn't say pretty cool. I mean, but. But anyway, so I just heard, I forget who said this. It was one of my sister's friends said that she was like at her job and that the woman's, young daughter came in that was like, maybe 6 years old. She watches other people play with dolls. So like, it's like, she doesn't play with dolls. Like she watches other people play with dolls. No, she's 6 years old.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's
still.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
That seems a little strange, though.
It seems strange, but I'll cut some slack for a 6-year-old.
Because it's a lot of imagination.
Danny's not going to be overly critical of a 6-year-old. That's a good idea, Dan. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to cut that 6-year-old a little slack. I mean, that probably not fully potty trained, hasn't been to second grade yet. We're going to cut that 6-year-old a little slack. But next time, watch it. Just watch it.
If an adult, no slack for an adult watching somebody play dolls, unless it's your own kids.
Yeah, not much slack
or
there.
your grandkids, something like that. But if it's a hobby and you watch all kinds of kids, it's kind of like
MF, can Larry say what went down when he got dismissed by KMBR? I haven't been a fan of Copes. Oh my goodness, give Copes a shot, man. Give Copes a shot. He's a good guy. And as far as nothing went down. It's just people move on, people make decisions, business. Everybody's going to be fine for it. So Don't worry about me. Don't worry about them. Don't worry about Copes. He'll be just fine.
Kevin Durant went to the Brooklyn Nets. It's.
Exactly. People move.
Hey, speaking of Durant, what do you think about the comments about Barkley saying he needs to be the bus driver for his own championship? And CJ McCollum was on.
Why is everybody crushing Durant all the time?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Durant.
He's
replied,
awesome. My God. And what the hell? Charles never won a title. What the hell is he talking about?
What is he talking about? Yeah.
And
like KD said, you were the bus driver, Charles, and you never won one.
Yeah, I mean, and how is KD not the bus driver on the 2 titles that he won? He was only the freaking Finals MVP. He only rose up over LeBron and stuck that jumper in his face. How quickly we forget all this stuff.
He was
KD's got his own issues. He's probably battling an 11-year-old right now on Twitter. But you know what? I mean, so what? He's still awesome, right? I mean, KD, I do not look at KD as he was just along for the ride by any stretch. He's one of the greatest. To me, I think KD is one of the greatest talents I've ever seen. I thought that the first time I saw him rise up and stick a 3 for the Texas Longhorns, I thought, man, look at this guy. This guy's 6'9", 6'10", and he's just on the perimeter looking like a 2 guard. Sticking 3 balls like it's nothing. KD, KD's got his own issues. I mean, went to 3 high schools. I think there's a nomad side to his whole persona, but let's not. I mean, you know what? That's the beauty of America, right? We have the freedom to move around, and if he wants to go to 3 high schools, if he wanted out. I mean, he was out here on the West Coast. I'm from here. Maybe some of the people listening are from here, but if you're not from here and you came out here and you won, all right, you won. You got a couple Finals MVPs, and maybe you're tired of getting yelled at by Draymond, or maybe you're tired of, Joe Lakeup, whatever. I mean, I don't even know. I have no idea. I have no insight into this, but I'm just saying maybe you just want to move. And so it's like, you know what? Why did everybody personalize his decision both to come to Golden State and his decision to leave?
He's a grown man. He can do what he
wants to leave.
And,
so what?
I blame a lot of this on Stephen A. Smith, because when he made that move, he said it was the weakest move he'd ever seen out of a pro athlete.
Everyone,
because the team that beat him in the playoffs, he went and joined.
And not just
he wanted away from Westbrook. He wanted away from
Roger. Was Stephen A. Smith screaming that about Roger Clemens when he jumped from the Blue Jays to the Yankees? The Yankees were already the World Series champion, and they added Roger Clemens. Was he in New York at that point bitching and complaining about Roger Clemens? Probably not. Probably not.
Exactly why KD left OKC. He wanted away from Westbrook.
It's OKC.
Yeah,
have you ever been to OKC?
Yeah, I have, and I even did some work in that area. Yeah, it's not much to it. So but when he was being recruited and courted by different teams, he chose the Warriors because of the Hampton 4, or the whatever it was, Hampton 5. It was the big 3 plus.
Think about that for a second. He had to be wowed in the Hamptons to come to the Warriors, some awesome team in the Bay Area over Oklahoma City.
Yeah, I just think he really liked the fact that he was going to play unselfish basketball.
Right. He played with Westbrook, who dominated the ball and played a horrendous brand. And he came here where they share the basketball, and he knew that Steph would move aside for him and accommodate him, and that everybody would accommodate him, and everybody did. And it was fine. They won a couple titles, but that last year things went south and the chemistry sucked. And that's why I thought this year was more enjoyable than KD's last year. And I said it.
Absolutely.
Kidding me?
I said it earlier this year, and I had a couple people challenge me on it. Like, what? How could you possibly say that? They were awesome that year. It was like hey, you beat them by 15. You probably should have beat them by 20.
Yeah.
Hey, you beat them by 22. Man, if you had gone hard, you would have beat them by 27. It was this joyless endeavor.
Yeah.
And no victory margin was large enough. And it just when you get to that point, the Niners of the 80s and 90s got to that point where it's like we critiqued Niner victories on Monday morning. The Niners won, yeah, but if they only won by 17, if they had really played well, they would have won by 24. I mean, after a while, when you get into that mindset, it becomes kind of like, can we just enjoy this? And I just kind of felt like I didn't really enjoy that final year with KD.
That's why the finals MVP thing became such a talking point with Steph because it was so easy and it was so preordained that the Warriors were going to win and win easily with no drama, that the only drama was who's going to get the finals MVP, and then whoever it was, then they carried the whole team to the championship, and it happened to be
such
KD
a bogus thing anyway.
And so because of the Curry title, now we're retrofitting and being like, wait, it was Curry actually all along? And it's like, no, it wasn't 100% KD. It wasn't 100% Curry.
It's a team sport.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's
the Lakers.
Speaking of basketball, though, guys, I've been hearing some rumors today that are interesting.
What do you got, Danny? What kind of rumors are you hearing?
Hearing some rumors that maybe
word on the street in Arizona?
Kyrie Irving going from the Nets to the Lakers for Anthony Davis.
No, I heard Westbrook.
No, I heard Westbrook.
I heard AD because the Nets really need.
That'd be a terrible trade for the Nets.
I mean,
don't you think?
It's going to be.
I mean, if you're going to let him walk,
Anthony Davis. What's happened to Anthony Davis's body in the last 2 years?
Or would you rather that than Westbrook?
It's breaking down.
I'd rather have Davis than Westbrook, but I mean, I'd rather have Kyrie than either of them. Well, if somehow LeBron gets Kyrie in either one of those trades, that's a steal. That's a steal. That puts them back on the map.
I'd be scared of Kyrie, LeBron. I mean, also, have you noticed?
Yeah, puts them back in the conversation, I think.
You notice LeBron's been tweeting like he's Kevin Durant throughout the entire playoffs, and then he just has not tweeted one thing about the Warriors winning the championship.
Like he said something about who you saying about LeBron?
LeBron, yeah.
KD was tweeted back after game one with Draymond, and you saw Draymond retweeted that. He's like something about like the quality of ball.
I was like, this is some high level basketball.
Yeah, some high level ball, and then Draymond shot back with, it is pretty high level ball after they won it all.
Yeah.
So obviously there's some bitterness there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I loved KD in watching him on the Warriors. And to me, that 4th of July, when he decided he was coming to the Warriors, was one of the great sports days in Bay Area sports history. I mean, it was just 4th of July is a great day anyway. And then, KD coming to the Warriors and all the conversation and all the possibilities. And it was awesome to watch, but it ran its course. And KD's kind of a weird guy. And at the end of the day, it's like, I don't know. It's like this year you had veterans, you had youth, but everybody was pulling in the same direction. And there wasn't this like massive ego thing. And maybe there was, and it just didn't, I didn't see it because I'm behind the scene. I'm not behind the scenes, but to me, it just seemed like the vibe was so much better this year.
Yeah, towards the last, I mean, the first year, everything was cool. They were coming off 3-1. KD had stuff to prove. Second year, a little less joy. Third year, negative joy.
One rumor that scares me a little bit if I'm a Warriors fan is I heard another one today of possible Jalen Brunson going to the Nets for Kyrie. Jalen Brunson and somebody else if Kyrie on the net on the Mavericks with Luka and now Christian Wood, that would make them very formidable. They're going to be formidable as it is, but I still don't think they have enough to get over the top because they really don't have much beyond.
Whoa, I like this.
KD and Harbaugh were the same comet in different skies. Oh my God, Jay Stamps, you just threw the whole chatter into a frenzy. Okay, can I tell you my Harbaugh story?
Yeah,
I got two. one great Harbaugh story.
Does it involve him wearing cleats and a mitt?
No. But so, they, he was there for the 4 years. The last year they were 500. And there was like something wrong the last year. And, the same way there was like joylessness with the KD last year. Yeah. There was some joylessness in the Harbaugh last year. And, he had his thing, who's got it better than us? Yeah. And he would say that and the whole team would say, nobody, right?
Yeah.
So it's the final game of the regular season or final home game. I'm not sure if it was the final game. I think it might've been the final game, but it was the final game, home game for sure. And the guy whose job it is to let the media into the locker room sees me and, he's like, hey, what's up, Krug? And he opens the door, and I see all the media people standing outside still, but he opened the door for me. He's like, hey, what's up, Krug? Yeah. And so I walked in. So I figured maybe those media people are waiting for somebody else. So then I take like 5 steps into this corridor, and there's 2 more doors to the locker room, and I can hear Harbaugh talking to the team. And now I'm walking towards the room, but I figured the media is already in there. The guy just let me in. And sure enough, as I'm walking towards it, I realize the guy mistakenly let me in. Like maybe he thought I was on some list I was not on or whatever.
You were a fullback.
So I'm about to walk right into the locker room while the whole team's huddled up talking to Harbaugh. And Harbaugh drops the who's got it better than us. And dude, you could have heard a pin drop. There was nothing. Nobody said anything. Everybody's like that. It was like he had lost that room. I mean, I know I've talked to guys like Dante Whitner who said no. He didn't lose the room, and the guys were still very much behind Jim and believed in him, and he knows better than I. He was on the freaking team, but I was in that room and I heard the who's got it better than us, and I heard the murmuring of just basically player discontent. So I don't know. To me, I think that wave was surfed. And that wave was cresting the shore. You know what I mean? I think Harbaugh in some ways is perfect for college. Yeah. Why? Because he's a great coach, I think, and he hires great assistant coaches. He's a great motivator, but he's got a little bit, and God, if he's out there watching this, he'll probably try to punch me out next time he sees me, but he's got a little bit of that high school Harry, that little bit of that rah-rah, which is not typical, like, of NFL coaches, and it's not typical of pro coaches, period. That rah-rah stuff.
Kind of worked for Pete Carroll, though, for a long time.
Yeah, worked for a lot of guys, and it worked for Harbaugh. But I just think when you get to year 4 of rah-rah, it starts to lose its focus, or starts to lose its effectiveness, I should say. And I think in college, since guys graduate, it just always works, you know? Yeah. By the time you're tired of it, it's time to move on. And he controls your scholarships. You're not going to challenge him. And, it's just in college football, the head coach is like the czar, and there's nothing that you cannot cross him. In the NFL, the head coach is the guy in charge, but you got contracts. You got an agent, It's big boy football, and your reality is your reality. If you're damn good, just because suddenly, I don't know, Kyle Shanahan doesn't like you, doesn't mean your career's done, But in college, if like the head coach doesn't like you, maybe your career is done, You might be sitting there with no other options. So anyway, there was a debate today or yesterday, and I thought it was a really good one. Joe Lacob, a lot of people threw out the notion, and Wendy threw it out first, that the Warriors this was a checkbook title. And Joe Lacob pushed back. Did you guys see this at all?
I actually didn't.
Joe Lacob obviously does not agree with the notion that the Warriors bought their title. He says, oh, come on. He goes, that's a joke. I think it's ridiculous. All of our players are guys that we drafted or are minimum signings except for one, Andrew Wiggins, and we got him in a trade. One trade, no free agent beyond the minimum. How can you say we bought the title? It's crazy. The Warriors did have the highest payroll in the league at over $184 million. But most of that was spent on retaining their core of Curry, Thompson, and Green. They drafted all those guys.
Right.
To me, anybody who's going down this is a title that was bought, you're barking up the wrong tree, and you're just looking at one stat, and that is that they're at the top of the payroll structure in the NBA, and you're just saying, they're on top, and so they bought their ring. Just because you spent the most doesn't mean you bought your ring. They drafted Curry. Yeah. They drafted Thompson. They drafted Green. They drafted Wiseman. They traded for Kuminga. They traded for, who did they sign? I mean, the GP2. I mean, they
Otto Porter,
Bielitsa. Come on.
Larry, I've got a great stat to back this up. The 2022 Warriors are the first NBA champions since 1978 to draft 8 of their current players.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a drafted team. Yeah. I mean, think about this. The Lakers built a title team in the 80s. Okay. They had Kareem. They drafted Magic Johnson. They made an incredibly one-sided deal, I think, with the Cavs, and they wound up with a pick that wound up becoming James Worthy. So that was the core of their championship team. That team, because of how popular they were, enabled them to build the next title team. Why? Because Kobe Bryant forced his way to the Lakers in the draft through his agent, and Shaq opted to take less money to leave Orlando to go join Jerry West and the Lakers. So I don't know about you, but I think Shaq and Kobe were kind of, the keys to their title teams, without a doubt. Yeah. So the Lakers, that whole run, you could say, is fraudulent. You can't say the Warriors run's fraudulent.
You know what? I have a question to pose to you guys, because I've heard this discussion a lot. And for the most part, I think the smart guys are like, look, I mean, they drafted all these guys, whatever. But so when I listen to guys, that maybe their franchise is Memphis or something, they talk about how the salary cap, the problem with the luxury tax is that it's not that it doesn't really deter these monster franchises. Although it is shocking, and the amounts of $80 million to sign Oubre, their argument is kind of like, well, but that actually is an even bigger separator, because there's no way we could do that. But then that pivots into this conversation. I think that the Warriors should not be criticized at all for this, because they drafted all these players. However, the other teams, that put it all together from trades and big stars, like you're saying with the Lakers, I would like to see going forward, because I think this would be great for small market teams as well.
I think I know what you're going to say here. Go ahead.
Players that are drafted to your team should not count as much towards the salary cap.
Or at all.
Or at all. Yeah.
Now, whose idea was that this week? Somebody threw that out.
It's been in the ether for.
I love that idea. Yeah. I love that idea. If you draft a player, and I think that should be the case in baseball. I'd like to see baseball come up with a cap. Right. Don't come up with a true cap. Come up with a free agent cap, so nobody can step in, buy a team, and shatter the whole structure of payrolls. And they're all tied together through arbitration anyway, and then bolt a la Wayne Huizinga. That's not good. Yeah. It's not good to buy a team, build it up, tear it all down. That's not good. So I think baseball ought to do that as well. If you draft, and I'd love to see the NFL do it. If you draft a player in any sport, that player shouldn't count against the cap. The cap should be about free agent spending. So you cannot buy your players. It shouldn't force you, because you have this incredible talent to pick players in the draft.
Well, look at the Niners, how they're getting look at the Niners, how they're getting penalized. They got Fred Warner, they got Nick Bosa.
They just lost DJ Jones because they couldn't pay him. In this Kittle scenario, Danny, they would be able to pay DJ.
Right. And they got Kittle, and then they had to let, Defoe go. But all these guys that they're paying being big are all drafted, and they're getting penalized by that.
Yeah.
Here's the alternate one that I actually really like, particularly with the NBA, is just, you can pick one player and you can pay him whatever you want, but as long as he's a drafted player, then that money doesn't count against your thing. So it would be mainly for your superstar, and it would be great because then the Ja Morants of the world, you don't have to worry about them bolting to LA, because they could only maybe get $40 million with the max contract there, versus if they stay in Memphis, they could get $80 million.
I agree. Incentivize guys to stay.
Yeah.
And when you do that, what's the result? The result is the fans are going to be more invested in those players, and they're going to buy their jerseys in greater number, and they're going to buy into them as foundation pieces that they know are going to be there. I mean, I think there's really two reasons why fans buy tickets to games. It's because the team was good, and because that team has players they love watching. And so, to me, I mean, you want to incentivize teams to keep it together. You don't want to. I mean, like, for example, the Warriors did a really nice job drafting and developing Kevon Looney. I would say there's almost no chance that Kevon Looney's back.
Yeah,
I think he's almost for sure going to be gone. Why? Because Sacramento's going to give him $50 million, and the Warriors are not going to want to match, even though they own his bird rights. Yeah. And so they're going to wind up saying, Kevon, we love you, but when you mix in the repeater tax, you're not worth X number of dollars, and it's going to cost us $50 million. Yeah. So, there's no question. A couple people in the chat. MF has got he's just all over the place with these incredible questions. I get the feeling MF might be an insider.
Yeah.
I think MF could be an insider. He says, is it true that Trent Balke had beef with Jim Harbaugh? Yes. It was actually, if you go back and look at Harbaugh and Balke, they immediately had no trust with one another. And it was because Jim went to management and said he was okay with Balke. And then as soon as Jim signed his contract, he went to management and said that he wanted Michael Lombardi to be the GM over Balke. And I think what happened was, the word of that, unfortunately, got back to Trent Balke. So that's what basically ruined that relationship. So they were like, I mean, I'm not saying they didn't ever talk and they didn't get along or anything, but Balke knew early on that Harbaugh tried to power play his ass right out of there. And so that just ruined their relationship going forward. So MF is all on that one. MF says, thoughts on Greg Papa signing an extension with the Niners. Way to go, Pop.
Yeah,
I think he does a great job. MF with another one. Can we get John Middlecoff on the podcast? We've had him already, and when camp starts, we'll definitely get him on. Absolutely, we'll get him on.
Also asking for John Lynch would be a great podcast.
Yeah, MF says John Lynch would be a great podcast guest like Ned. We'll get Lynch on as well, but I want to wait until camp so we can actually see these guys put pads on. You know what? Sure. I've done a bunch of different live streams with a lot of really intelligent people. I've been at mini camp. I've seen the players. I got a pretty good insight into who they are. It's all been said. It's all been said, and now it's time to put on the pads and find out for real. So when the pads come on this summer, I will approach, Corey Rush and the Niners about getting John Lynch on the podcast, and I'm sure we'll get him on because John's a good guy. He's a good guy, and he's had a good off season.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if we're ready to change subject yet, but I was going to say, did you see that U.S. Open yesterday, man?
I did. Oh, my God. I couldn't believe that. Matthew Fitzpatrick. Did you watch this at all, Ray?
I watched the end of it.
That one putt he made for a birdie that was like 40, 50, 60. I don't know how many feet
it was. 13, I think.
Yeah, no, the one from the fringe of just at the edge of the green, and it was going up.
Wasn't that the 13th hole?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I thought you said 13 feet. Yeah, 13th hole.
Yeah, 13th hole, I think.
It was like 50 feet, 60 feet.
Yeah. Oh, it was an incredible shot. How about the shot out of the deep rough?
Oh, on the 18th?
Yeah, I mean, that was an unbelievable shot. I mean, that kid, Matthew Fitzpatrick, wins the 122nd U.S. Open at the Country Club, as they call it, Brookline. I was pumped up for Morikawa. I had a slight wager on Morikawa, and then he comes out on Saturday and cards a 77.
Yeah, if he had just shot us, if he had just shot like 72, he would have been right there.
And this kid, and then Will Zalatoris, who's a Giants fan.
I was going to say, I was rooting for him so that we could get another win in Boston.
I will say this, though. I mean, Will Zalatoris, maybe slightly looser pants. Maybe that is the reason that you lost. I mean, how tight? I mean, seriously, how tight do you want to wear pants?
Saturday Night Live out there, huh?
I mean, my God. I thought
John Travolta.
He had freaking leggings on. It was it was ridiculous.
The guy does have some. Maybe they were old because it seems like he's gotten a little bigger. I mean, he still looks like he's blowing away in the wind, but
he's lean and mean. But I mean, come on, man, that tight of pants. Zalatoris had a 2-shot lead on Fitzpatrick on the back nine and blew it. And Fitzpatrick is the he wins on 274 shots. But the most amazing thing was the guy's accuracy off the tee. I mean, hit 17 of 18 greens in regulation. Incredible ball striking. The 17 greens that he hit were the most by him in a major since Koepka at the 2017 U.S. Open.
One, he misses the last one. I thought when he went into that sand trap on 18, I thought, oh my goodness, he just pulled what was that guy in the
Carnoustie?
The guy in the British Open years ago.
Yeah, Brett Lowry at Carnoustie.
What was his name? No, it was
Sean Van de Velde. Sean
Van de
Velde.
Velde. Yeah, he pulled. Oh my goodness, had to be the worst. Worst
Van de Velde. Sean Van de Velde blew up at Carnoustie, but Carnoustie was a hellhole too. I mean, that place with the wind and the rain, that was a rough conditions.
That was the worst.
But this guy was incredible. First major, he just showed tremendous patience. Incredible shot out of the bunker on 18. I felt happy for the caddy Billy Foster, who'd been waiting forever.
Major, huh?
His dad, the kid's dad, Fitzpatrick's dad, was wearing a Red Sox hat. And I mean, in the same course that he won the amateur on, he wins his first PGA Tour victory, and it's a major. It's the U.S. You win your first PGA Tour win is the U.S. Open. Yeah. I mean, that is incredible. The guy finished at 6 under. Scheffler, who's playing great golf, was right there. He finished tied with Zalatoris.
You believe he's the same age as Zalatoris? A guy looks like
Scheffler?
Yeah, he looks like he's 40.
I thought he was like 37. He looks
he's 24.
No, he's young. He's really young. He's from Texas.
Wow.
But it's funny. Fitzpatrick's an interesting story. He had played in 26 majors before this year. And he talked about it. He's got some training that he does to improve his driving. And it sounds like kind of like the equivalent of like driving ankle weights. You know what I mean? So, and he talked about it a couple times. Anyway, he's now driving the ball further than he's ever driven it before. And if you look at it, how well he's driving it, he's a bomber now, and he's a relatively small guy. But look at he never finished. He had played in 26 majors before this year. This year in the majors, he's finished 14th, 5th, and 1st in the 3 majors. So I mean that's incredible. 14th at Augusta, 5th at the PGA, and now he wins the British. So I mean he was the low amateur at 2014 at Pinehurst. He won the he's hitting the ball further than he did 3 years ago, and it's all because of this new training method that he started in 2020, and it's improved his distance on his driving.
There's a new trend going on right now on the tour in that I heard a stat today, and I'm not sure if it was 9 or 10, something like that. The last 9, 10 majors have been won by players under 30 years of age.
Yeah, it's a total young man's game.
Yeah, I loved having the top of the leaderboard. It was like all these, studs under 26.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the old guard is just about gone. Tiger, Mickelson.
Well, yeah,
well, you need. I would say you need. I can see why at the U.S. Open, but like for like Augusta, you'd think it's going to be pretty much won by veterans because that's a course where since they play it every year, you build up course knowledge as you go. But yeah, I mean, the fact that this guy's first major was a U.S. Open, and then to talk about this extra distance, and it was weird. And he's like, he even said, it's like I've been tested. It's not PEDs. I was like, isn't that sad? Like a guy wins the U.S. Open, and like he's got to say that he's not on PEDs. Because it's like that our mind, we see a guy who had, adds 20, 30 yards of distance to his drives, and immediately we're all like, yep, PEDs.
Hey, fellas, sorry to switch lanes, but 916 49er might have just led us into our next topic. Little Mount Rushmore.
Oh, wait a second. Sorry about that. It says, men, your opinions on where Curry ranks among the greatest Bay Area sports legends. There was a little talk today about who would be on the Bay Area sports Mount Rushmore. And Mount Rushmore is 4, right? Four presidents.
Yeah. Here's how I would do mine.
Can you name who's on Mount Rushmore?
Lincoln. Washington.
John Adams.
Second President Adams.
Jefferson. I think Thomas Jefferson.
And Roosevelt.
Teddy Roosevelt.
I think
you're right.
I think they're right.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's
so
how
who are your top 4 Bay Area athletes of all time?
Now I did 2.
First alternate. I want first alternate too.
Okay, here's how
first
I do
alternate.
Mine.
Here's
how here's my 5. I did 5, and then I took 1 off.
Yeah. First alternate.
Yeah. Okay, so what I did is I get it. A little slow tonight. Relax. So I did it this way. Are we just putting 4 no order or
no order?
Okay, if you're gonna do no order, now
what would the order be?
I mean, you could do
the order. I did.
Like who's your first? Who's the first person on Mount Rushmore Bay Area?
I did it 2 ways. One based on talent, and then 2.
I think that's the GOAT. That's the GOAT debate, though. That's different than the Mount Rushmore.
Okay, so if we're doing Mount Rushmore, I'll just pick the 4.
Okay, well, let's just talk about who's got to be there.
Okay,
yeah,
I'm gonna.
It's got to be
Montana.
Wait a second, it's got to be Joe. Joe's got to be there.
Yeah,
Joe's got to be.
Joe's got to be there. So Joe's
4.
on there.
I got Joe, and I got Steph.
You got Steph.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
I think Joe and Steph are the 2 etched in stone.
Joe and Steph, and
over
then
Willie
I have
Mays, over Jerry Rice.
Well, and Jerry Rice is 3.
Okay, where's Mays?
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah, here's the thing.
Where's Buster and his 3 damn rings?
Yeah, I put Bonds in there.
Bonds has no rings.
No rings.
I put Bonds as 4 because I picked the top 4 as far as the best. Now, if you want to put one, if I was doing,
all right, let's just all 3 give our 4 already.
So those 4.
All right, go ahead, Danny. Give me your 4. Just give me 4 names. Don't give me your reasoning.
Joe Montana, Steph Curry, Jerry Rice, and who did I say? And Barry Bonds. But I think Mays is the best of all of them.
First alternate.
But he's not as well.
He didn't make it.
As popular. He's not as popular.
The Say Hey Kid didn't make it.
But he would be the best.
You cut Willie Mays.
He's the best. He's my. That's the thing. He's the best, but he's not as well known by everybody.
Yeah, I've had it. You're muted. All right, you're muted. Just not right. Say Hey Kid. What does Willie Mays have to do to get on there? My goodness. Shame on you. I wish we had an X. I could X across Dan. Can we darken him right now? Can we do something? Can we kick him back? Let's see. We're putting you back in the green room. You're back in the green room.
Okay. You know
don't
what?
Don't you go eat all of our snacks.
Wait, you know what, Larry? We got to bring him back because
He's not going to have Mays either.
I'm not going to have Mays.
I knew it.
I'm going.
Oh my God! You guys are not going to have Willie Mays.
Did he? He never won a World Series in San Francisco.
Oh,
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
but here's the thing with Willie.
So who's on there? JTA?
No. It's Steph, Joe Montana, Buster, and Jerry Rice.
No Bonds. Okay. I did the 4 based on what I thought was the most that brought the most reaction, crowd love, the love. Mays was the best, but he wasn't sports wasn't as popular.
I know one of you guys were going to be like super PC and be like Tara Vanderveer or something like that.
If you're going to ask me who are the 4 best, I got Mays number 1. Number 1.
Okay, here it's Mays, Montana.
Now you could talk me into Steve Young over Rice.
Mays, Montana. See, Rice might be the best football player ever
Of all time, yeah. It's just him and
So
Joe.
how do you not have
Larry,
Rice?
come on. You can't even come up with 4. Come on, Larry.
Oh, wait a second. That ain't right. Yeah, that's just awful.
Mute.
That is just. I mean, I hope you go to a Circle K and get caught in the crossfire. All right, I hope somebody robs a Circle K and catches you astray. All right, I'm gonna go Joe. Gosh, this is so hard. I'm gonna go Joe 1, Mays 2. Gosh, this is so hard. Like, where do you put Ronnie? Where's Ronnie?
Ronnie's out. He's on the next. He's on the Mount next 4.
Ronnie's out. Ronnie's
out.
Ronnie's like maybe one of the greatest defensive football players in the history of the league.
But then are you just going to go Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, and Lott? That's too much. That's not. You can diversify your portfolio. Listen to Dan.
I'm going to go Mays, Montana, Rice, and hate to say it, Mays, Montana, Rice, and Ricky.
Ooh,
I'm going with Ricky. Ricky would go with Ricky, and he would say it that way. How do you not go with Ricky?
Okay, what about? Okay, well, let's all do our
Danny's testing his mic every couple seconds. Am I back? Hello?
Oh,
What?
Jesus Christ!
All right, let's bring Danny back.
Okay.
How do you not go with Ricky? How do you not go with Ricky? Ricky was the best. Ricky was the best. Ricky did not use performance-enhancing drugs. Ricky was the greatest leadoff hitter of all time. Ricky scored more runs. Ricky had power. Ricky had speed.
Now,
Ricky had it all, baby.
I broke this down the other day about
if Ricky played for the Giants, he'd be on that list.
The Bay Area, has been so blessed with some of the not just the all-time greats in the sport, but at their position. Arguably, you can argue that Joe's up there as the GOAT, but it's probably Brady. But Joe's in that argument.
Joe's the original.
Yeah. Jerry Rice is the greatest receiver of all time.
Anybody who says otherwise is like either a jackass or like 8.
Exactly. Willie Mays is definitely the best center fielder, but arguably the greatest baseball player of all time.
He is the greatest baseball player of all time.
I think he is center fielder, but the greatest.
Willie Mays. I mean, Willie Mays is the greatest of all time. Willie Mays
is center fielder.
Willie Mays. Anybody who puts Ruth over Mays is like, what? What the heck? What are you talking about?
Barry Bonds is right up there in that top 3 or 4 players of all time.
My problem with Ricky Henderson is how many years did he even play for the A's? Like 7?
He had 2 different stints. He came up with the A's. Okay. I would say probably more.
But
he did play a long time. But
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if that's a good.
Got to play over like 70% of your game.
Bonds didn't come. Bonds was a Pirate. Won 2 MVPs with the Pirates.
Rushmore.
Yeah.
So I've got those 4 guys are arguably the greatest at their position and right at the top of their sport. I consider Jerry Rice the greatest football player ever. I personally think is all-around football player. He's the best that ever played the game. You could take Steph Curry is arguably, if you listen to Andre Iguodala, says he's established himself as the all-time greatest point guard.
Best player on the best team of all time.
The all-time greatest point guard.
That's what Andre said. I think it's Magic still.
Come on.
I have Magic and then Steph number 2, but Andre is saying that Steph is That's what he just said.
He's buddies with Steph. He knows Steph.
I know.
He doesn't know
But
Magic.
What I'm
maybe.
saying is, he's in that.
Come on,
argument.
Magic Johnson. He's better than Magic.
He's a different type of player.
You're talking to the wrong guy.
I mean, Magic couldn't create a 3-shot.
You think he's better than Magic? I mean, he's a better shooter than Magic, but Magic was.
I wouldn't say like I don't like doing it that way. I just say like how much they dominated their specific eras. I don't know. I mean, I just
Romo goes Mays, Joe, Rice, Curry. I could see that. I could take Ricky out for Curry.
And I probably wouldn't put Bonds on. I probably wouldn't put Bonds on Mount Rushmore as I think about it now more than Mays, because Mays was he's Barry's godfather. He is the godfather, Mays.
Barry. I mean, Mays was the best player of all time.
But was he on the Mount Rushmore? I wouldn't say
Bonds is maybe one of the best hitters of all time.
Yeah,
but he's not Hank Aaron, right?
Who's that?
He's Barry.
Barry was the.
I mean, Barry was
the greatest hitter I've ever seen, because he's
the greatest hitter I've ever seen. But
he didn't miss.
What about Hank Aaron? I mean, you saw Hank Aaron.
Yeah, I saw Hank, but Hank was a great hitter, but he didn't have the athleticism that Barry had. I mean, before Barry bulked up, he was a 400 guy.
Also, again, you're asking the wrong guy, but I mean the walks thing is like a really big deal.
Like 200 times one year.
Yeah, but didn't Ricky draw more? I mean, Ricky drew a ton of walks. I have to look at who drew more. But Ricky to me, Ricky was more unstoppable than Barry. Ricky, because look at Ricky at his apex. I mean, Bonds' apex was tied to the PEDs in 01 and 02. So it's like, it's hard to say, the best we saw of Bonds, he was, my God, he was like a mythical figure. He was like,
how do we know Ricky wasn't on him?
Well, you're right. We don't really know. We don't know any of that. But the assumption is there. Okay, Barry has very much. He admitted that he used 2 substances that the feds told us were the cream in the clear, and they told us those. The only debate is, did he knowingly do those drugs? He did those drugs, and it's on record. So there's no doubt it wasn't like, well, if he did them, no, he did them. Okay, there's no doubt about that. But the question is, did he knowingly do them? Okay, so now you know that he used performance enhancers. There's no performance enhancers associations with Ricky Henderson. And Ricky Henderson, go back and look at Ricky against Toronto in the late 80s in the playoffs. He could get on base at will, steal second, steal third, come home on a whatever. He was instant offense. He was a great left fielder. He stole 130 bases. I mean, my God, in a season. 130.
Yeah.
I mean, what's Barry's high? What's Barry's high? 50?
40s?
40s?
I think.
Ricky stole 130.
Yeah.
And he had power. And he had a tiny strike zone, and he knew the strike zone, and he wreaked havoc on the Blue Jays in that 89 ALCS and on the Giants in the 89 World Series. He was unstoppable. You couldn't get him out, and then you couldn't throw him out once he was on base. I mean, he was totally dominating. So I don't know.
Here's my argument.
If he played for the Giants, I think Ricky would have been higher thought of.
I picked those 4. I would put Mays back in there. If I was to put Mays and I'd take Barry off. But as far as Mays, had he played in the 90s and the 2000s like Barry did, you would have been just in awe. I mean, if you saw him every night on TV, he was just.
Oh, imagine him on steroids.
That's what I'm saying. Had he had even the weights. Even if he had the weights to lift like the athletes do in the weight rooms that the clubs have.
Yeah, but also then the pitchers would have it too. So I think it kind of equals.
But then, I mean, the dude.
Willie Mays was a genius, though. Willie Mays was physically the best, and he was mentally the best.
2 years? Did he miss 2 years in
2 years?
Service? He comes back and hits over 50 home runs the year he's.
Not just 2 years, two of his very prime years.
Yeah. He would have broke
Ruth's record before Aaron.
Easily. Easily.
Okay, what about? I feel like we're neglecting Buster. I mean, he's won 3 World Series. He brought the first titles to San Francisco.
Buster's awesome. Buster's awesome,
but he's not at that level of.
Yeah, but we're not talking
in a way,
player.
though. Here's the thing about Buster that's kind of that makes it hard, is that Buster's genius. You'd have to be Bruce Bochy to really appreciate it. You know what I mean? You'd have to be a baseball catcher to really appreciate the nuance of Buster. Because I agree. I think Buster to baseball is like Joe Montana to football. I mean, he was a genius and widely accepted as like, the guy who's just Bruce Bochy never caught anybody 1 inning in the postseason other than Buster. So Buster and everything, just because, Buster didn't have the big physique, so he didn't have the huge power numbers, but he had crazy bat speed, incredibly intelligent, great pitch caller, framer, catch and throw. I mean, how many guys win the batting title and, win the rings? And I mean, to me, it's not accidental. It wasn't accidental that the Yankees won all those years with Yogi Berra. It wasn't accidental that the Big Red Machine had Johnny Bench. It wasn't accidental that this giant dynasty, and it is a dynasty, had Buster, because a great catcher means so much.
Yeah. Now I'm going to give you
further. It was no accident that Bill Dickey was a great catcher on those Yankee teams, because if you have almost every great dynasty in history of baseball had a great catcher.
Yeah. Here's what I want to see you guys come up with. I've done this before, and here's my Mount Rushmore, not of the top 4 players ever in the Bay Area, but the most beloved of the fans, and I've got 4 people I think who fit this.
Yeah, because the Mount Rushmore. Yeah, the Mount Rushmore comes down to those for sure the best 4 presidents of all time?
No, it's just the most impactful.
It's the most impact.
Yeah. So here's my 4 most impactful or most beloved sports figures.
Beloved or impact?
Beloved.
Okay. Most beloved, according to Dan Coccimilgio.
Joe Montana, Steph Curry, Buster Posey, and Willie McCovey. So let me hear your guys.
Joe Montana, Buster Posey, Steph Curry, and McCovey.
He was more beloved than Mays.
Was Clay Thompson?
Where's Clay? Where's Will?
I have Clay's right in the. He's one of my alternates.
He's right waiting in the reads.
How about Will Clark? Where's Will? Where's Will the Thrill?
Yeah, again, for mine, I'm going Joe, Steph, Jerry Rice, Buster, and then the next 4 is Steve Young, Bonds, Mays, and Ronnie Lott for me.
Oh, you're going next 4, like if the first 4 didn't exist.
Yeah.
What do you got, Larry?
Your second 4. Okay, so my first 4 is going to be Montana.
To be on mine.
Montana, Rice, Ricky.
Beloved?
Ricky.
No, not beloved. I'm saying this is my Mount Rushmore. It's Montana. I went with Montana, Rice, Mays, and Ricky.
Now, who's your 4?
My next 4 would be
KD.
Bonds, Curry, Posey, and Ronnie.
I love Ronnie Lott. Oh man, Connor.
I mean, you know how many kids in the 80s would be running around town wearing 42?
Oh, Ronnie Lott, yeah, man.
I mean, Ronnie was just, he detonated on people. He was the biggest hitter. He was awesome, man.
I wish they would have never.
I mean, and people talk about Ed Reed is better. Ronnie had the Ed Reed ball skills, but he also blew you up.
Yep.
So everybody was like, "Oh, Ed Reed's better. Ed Reed's better." What are you, 6? I mean, my goodness. Ed Reed was a great coverage player, but so was Ronnie. Ronnie played corner.
Belichick did say that he thinks that Ed Reed's the best defensive player he ever played against.
Belichick hated the Niners.
Yeah. So who's your 4 that that you think most adored athletes in the Bay Area that you just
adored? Man, that is tough.
Yeah,
that is tough. Mr. Jennings, Dave Dravecki.
What about Mount Coach Moore? Because Kerr's on that now.
Yeah, I went with the 4 of Joe.
Well, that's got to be Walsh, right? Walsh.
is the question.
Kerr,
Coach Walsh,
Boch,
Boch,
And then who's the fourth?
LaRussa. How do you not have LaRussa if you can have Boch? LaRussa's the third winningest manager in the history of the game.
I'm going to go with...
It's a little cardinally for me.
How about...
Cardinally.
How about...
Come on, you got to give LaRussa his, man. There's too many people that are like anti-LaRussa.
I have a hard time giving any credit to the A's personally, but I'm not
Why?
a big...
Because of the roids?
I said A's. I'm not an A's.
Because of the roids, because of the fact that their guys were Canseco, McGuire were obviously
I've always just been a Giants fan. I've never been an A's guy, so it's hard for me to give any love for them. Even though I'm, born and raised here, right in the Bay Area. But
if you know what though, if we are talking GOAT,
we have had incredible managers and coaches here. I mean, you got John Madden, you've had George Seifert, you got Tara Vanderveer, you got a lot of great coaches. Marcus.
Honestly, though, is Curry the most beloved athlete in the history of the Bay Area? Because in my lifetime, it's not even close. The way people talk about him as well.
I think he's definitely right there.
What about Timmy?
Definitely Joe.
No, his Curry was on a new level.
I mean, he is in the sense he's more community. He's done so much for the city of Oakland.
Curry, in a lot of ways, is the perfect guy because he just never, he just does everything right. He's like Jeter. He's like, Joe.
He's like
no missteps.
He's like
let me grab one thing off the printer, guys. Let me grab that. Hold on a second.
He's
Continue
like
amongst yourselves.
Yeah, he's
Don't
like
mute Dan while I'm gone.
He's kind of like
Larry. He can't hear me. Larry. Hey, Larry. Larry, what are you doing, Larry?
You know what? This is when he comes back, I'm going to say something that's going to probably piss him off.
What are you going to?
Well, I'm going to say I forgot about Bumgarner. I'm putting Bumgarner above Willie Mays. No. I'm putting Bumgarner above maybe above Bonds.
For most beloved or what?
No, on my second tier Mount Rushmore. Now we're getting into bizarreness. A second tier Mount Rushmore ball. Because I mean, Bumgarner, I value what Bumgarner did. I don't know what all his A's stuff is. What is this? Can we talk some S about his Ricky Henderson selection over Buster Posey, Barry Bonds, and Willie Mays?
Not above Ricky's
what the hell? He played 8 years here.
Yeah.
Oh God. But anyway, yeah. That's what I'll say. Okay, thanks, Nick. I'm gonna put Bumgarner above Ricky. That's gonna piss him off. Okay, that's good.
I'm gonna get muted when he comes back. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna mess with him. Well, I'm gonna say, hey Ryan, watch this. Wait till he comes.
Vic Fangio. Yeah. You know what? What was I going to do? I was going to say, like Steph Curry is like if Buster Posey, had Barry Bonds' power almost. Like it's like that, the Buster Posey personality and team leader, quiet leader, but also just hit monster shots.
Yeah. I mean, gosh, there's so many. I did a top 10 once, and then my list went over to like 75 to 100 of just Bay Area fans or athletes that were being
Bay Area fans.
Bay Area athletes. I mean, I was getting down to guys like Jim Barnett, people, all kinds of guys. Just
JT Snow.
I mean, there's just so many.
Steph Curry is like it's pretty consensus now, even amongst like the mass media, that he's a top 10 guy. I mean, I think most people have him at 10, but it's like, I don't know. There's not that many top 10. I mean, that's like saying like having a Shaq or like, it's crazy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's
the fact that he's been here his whole career too. And like he completely transformed a franchise. Like how could he not be? I mean, I think there's literally nothing in sports in my lifetime that is like, Steph Curry hitting a 3 in front of the home crowd, just in terms of momentum and swinging games and stuff.
Hey, Ryan. Wait. Hey, Ryan. Ryan, can Larry come out and play? Ryan, where's Larry? Bring out Larry. He wants to come play too.
When you make up voices like that, you got to be muted. I mean, that's just Larry. That's just not right.
I have a take that I think is going to upset you based on where you hold him. I have Bumgarner above Ricky Henderson. Is that
what?
Yeah, three World
Series. Is Bumgarner
Series.
Even above 500?
I mean, he's the best World Series ERA of all time. one of the greatest postseason pitchers and probably the greatest in Major League history.
I mean, it's he to me, he had maybe the greatest World Series performance of all time on the mound. I mean, name me a better World Series pitching performance than Bumgarner Game 7 2014. What would be the second best? Jack Morris, maybe, in that 90, was it 92? He went 10, I think. That was a pretty freaking awesome one.
The perfect game in the World Series, though.
You talking about Halladay in the playoffs?
No,
that was in the playoffs.
In the 50s threw a perfect game.
Oh, Don Larson.
Yeah, Don Larson and the Yankees. Yeah.
Your mic sounds a little low, Danny. I don't know. Maybe are you too far away? You might have hit a button on it or something.
Hanging out with Jay Hutch.
Hello. Better?
Yeah, better. A little bit better.
Okay. I told Ryan when you were away, I go, watch, he's going to mute me as soon as I say this.
I'm looking for reasons to mute.
I know.
I really am. This is from MF. MF, I feel like you're just like really on the inside.
I think he currently is creating your Wikipedia page right now.
MF saw Larry get emotional on his last show with Gary. Definitely a great Bay Area sports moment.
Was it a Mount Rushmore Bay Area sports radio moment?
It may have been.
I was in the car when Tolbert teared up or when Ralph left. That was pretty good.
Yeah, all those things are tough. All those things are tough. I definitely loved working with G-Rad, and his goodbye was not an easy day for sure. I know what I was going to ask you guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Have we exhausted that last topic, by the way? Pretty much.
Yeah.
The one question I wanted to ask you guys, if we're talking about Golden State going forward, and if you're Joe Lacob, and Joe Lacob, I don't know if you guys saw the quote from Joe Lacob. I mean, this one, if you're a Warrior fan, would get you very excited. I mean, Joe Lacob, let me see if I can find it. Oh, here it is. Joe Lacob, we're ready to come back next year and do it again. I mean, that's just exactly what you want to hear. And if you're a Warrior fan, that's what I love about Joe Lacob is that Joe Lacob is a self-made billionaire. Think about that for a second. He's the first guy in his family to graduate college.
Wow.
And he's a self-made Jenner. He's a self-made billionaire. What's that? Like Kylie Jenner, is that you said? Next time I see Joe, I'll have to say that. Yeah, you're kind of like Kylie Jenner.
I love owners that spend money, though, on their team.
I do, too. That's what I love about Steinbrenner.
Who hates owners?
The Mets owner now, Steve Cohen. Is it Steve Cohen? I mean, he's spending bucks. Oh, speaking of the Mets, going back to the Giants here real quick. I was kind of irritated they didn't sign Mark Canha, a Bay Area guy, Cal Berkeley. He signed for 2 years with the Mets. He would have been a perfect fit for the Giants. I thought, needing a right-handed bat, the outfield.
What do they pay him?
$12 million a year for 2 years. He got 2 years for $24 million.
He ain't worth $12 million a year.
Hitting $296.
They get jocked for
playing every day. $6 million.
I mean, he is a Bellarmine kid. He loves the ballpark, but $12 million a year for Mark Canha.
You overpaid, but you got, they're in first place too.
All right.
I mean, we're,
but here's my question. If you are the Warriors and you wanted to run it back next year, and you could take one team in the NBA right now and kick them out of the league, who are you kicking out? Who is the one team you're going into next year? You're trying to repeat. You're the Golden State Warriors. You can kick one team.
Just one team
out of the league to make it an easier run for you. Who are you trying to kick out?
Question.
What's that?
That's an excellent question.
It's an excellent question because the team, it's harder to go through. It's harder to go through three teams in the playoffs versus one.
But I'm just saying it's hard to identify a true, basically, here's the question.
Can we do it this way? Can we do one team in the West and one team in the East? Because it's hard to go through. If you base it on one.
Okay,
that's
so
not right. I mean,
this is my thought process.
There's always got to be one kid at the party that wants that little extra. Can I have nuts and a cherry?
Yeah.
Can I have nuts and a cherry and whipped cream? No, wait. What if I want whipped cream and I want nuts and I want a cherry and I want chocolate sauce? Can I get chocolate sauce?
But what if I want caramel? Maybe
wait a second. What if I need a special napkin? Can I get it in a glass dish? I don't want to put it in a bowl. Look at Dan. I mean, Dan, special circumstances here. It should say Dan Coccimilgio, special circumstances.
Okay, so this is my
special treatment. I want more. My goodness, Dan. I mean, what if I want every topic? You've got to add a little wrinkle. What if I want to go twice as many? What if I want to change it up a little bit? And where's Faith? Where's Buster? I want to see their faces right now. They're ashamed of you right now.
Man, they're calling for you to come hang out in the chat again.
Look at that. Look at that. They're not even. Look, Faith. Faith is like, how do you feel about your owner? Oh, no, here she comes. Buster. Oh, here's Buster.
No,
Buster's like,
I do like a Buster.
I like Dan. I just wish I didn't have this stupid bandana on right now.
Makes me look like a loser.
Loser. None of the people in this over 55 community like me anymore because I'm wearing the bandana.
Yeah. So anyway, back to this question.
Back to the question. We'll bring Danny back. No exceptions.
Yeah.
No exceptions.
I understand Dan's thought process, and that's what makes this a great question, because I think that the teams we should be more afraid of are in the East, but they're going to beat each other up. So it's unless you're so confident that the Celtics or Bucks are going to get to the finals, I think you have to pick a team in the West that gives you trouble, because I'd rather have an easier path to the finals and then take my chances, even if, it's a tougher matchup. You never know what happens.
Well, I mean, either way, you're going to have to play them in a best of 7. So what difference does it make? You're going to have to go through them, whether they're in the finals or in the conference finals or in the first round or whatever. They're all best of 7. But
it's pretty easy in the West.
Who is the team? Who is the team?
In the West,
the team that you would say get rid of this team for next year to make it easier?
Mike Brown's Kings. No,
yeah, Mike Brown's Kings.
I'd say Memphis.
I think it's either Memphis or the Clippers.
I got Memphis.
I like the Clippers not being there. I like not having to face Kawhi and Paul George.
I was gonna say the Milwaukee Bucks.
Okay,
that's who I would have picked if I had.
I was going to say the Milwaukee
Bucks. If you gave me,
because you remember this, guys. Milwaukee did not have Chris Middleton.
I know,
right?
And Chris Middleton is a freaking star. 2nd round pick, by the way, but a star.
I still think we beat those.
You know what?
That's isn't that? If I said to you, what team do you fear most next year? You'd say Memphis. Really?
In the West, I think that probably
just period. What team is going to keep you from winning a title? And you would say Memphis. I would say Milwaukee.
Well, if you get that far, I just think it's hard to go through 3, but Milwaukee was my other choice. And then the other choice.
Oh, look at you! You're ordering off the menu. Other choice.
Can I get no tomatoes on that Eastern Conference team?
Can I get a side of an annuity? Can I have an annuity on the side?
Here's who could be really tough next year. If Robert Williams is 100%.
Don't say
healthy,
the Knicks. You're going to say the Knicks or somebody.
No, I'm saying the Celtics could be back if Williams is
for sure.
Healthy.
Yeah, Celtics. To me, this is what I was deciding between Memphis, the Celtics, Milwaukee, and I know you're going to laugh at this one, but I really kind of fear this team, and I fear them getting that one more piece, that is Minnesota. They've got Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards. Dude, Anthony Edwards was a beast in these playoffs. Anthony Edwards is coming, fellas.
Edwards, yeah.
He's coming. And Karl Anthony Towns is he wore the Warriors out this year, didn't he, Ryan, in those head-to-head matchups?
Yeah. But come playoffs, I do think that he may end up with
too young. They got
EP in his beat.
I don't think a team can go from the winning one series without getting to the conference finals can make it over the hump. I think you first got to get kind of like Boston. It took them a few years. I think it's in this day and age. I mean, the Warriors did it in their first championship in 15, as far as they got was the 2nd round, but everything fell their way that year too. And let's be honest, I mean, everybody got injured that they
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Is it was kind of like the way we gave a scare to the Spurs in 2013, the Spurs team that went on to be pretty dominant versus Miami. And it's like we took them to 6. Honestly, we probably should have. We had an overtime game that could have went either way that we lost.
Rolled his ankle.
What about this one? What about this? First of all, Mark Graves says, for a Giants fan, Dan wears a lot of blue. I'm not going to say anything to that. I'm just saying.
He likes to have it both ways, don't you know, Larry?
Yeah, exactly.
Social.
I mean, I want to wear an orange hat, but I also like to wear blue. Yeah. And what if I decide to wear blue?
Yeah.
All right. What do you guys think of this one? Bomber T. If the Mavericks get one more star, they could be a problem. I kind of agree with that after looking at the Christian Wood trade.
Too,
that's what I mentioned earlier. There's some rumblings of Jalen Brunson and.
Look at that. That's what I said earlier. Can you believe he gave us that one? That's what I said earlier.
I think that the rumblings were what Larry was saying.
Look at that. Danny, that's what I said earlier. Right, look at that. I was very wise earlier in the show. All right. He's back. Go ahead, Danny. You were saying. This guy's Alex says, I hope you guys have Cy on during the off season. That guy is quality content. Cy's gonna be back Thursday night. In fact, I confirmed with you guys up for Thursday night NBA draft live stream.
Yeah,
we're gonna blow it out Thursday night.
And Steve's been studying the players too more.
Good. Yeah, I'd love to have Steve on.
Yeah, so
he's one of my favorite Coccimilgios.
Yeah, he's easily top 2.
I've never had to mute Steve that I know of. I don't know if I could.
You haven't met Ron. He's probably he's the better one of all of us.
Why? What makes Ron better than you and Steve?
Wait, Dan, give me your Mount Rushmore of Coccimilgio. So your 2 siblings exactly. And then both of your parents. So that means you have to leave one off.
Yeah.
I'll leave Steve off.
No. Poor Steve.
Next time Steve's
not here to defend him. He's not here to defend himself.
Dan didn't even put you on the Mount Rushmore of Coccimilgio.
I'll take Taffy.
Face palm Godzilla is like mute. Right after your last comment there, he's like mute. Did you see that?
I'm gonna even take Taffy the Beagle over Steve.
Totes McGoats. Dan to the green room already by now, please. Are you kidding me? We've got those little finger sandwiches back there that are just so delicious. Those little Armenian things with the lettuce and the turkey. I like those Armenian sandwiches that we have back in the green room. Those are good. Hope you need all those.
Can you get some extra stuff to put on it there, Larry?
Oh, look at that. Impersonations. That's worth muting right there. That I wish I could freeze Dan too. It's like, we have like a freeze thing, like they do on Around the Horn. I wish you could just freeze him. Oh, look at that. Look at that. He's busting out the Casio.
Hypnotize you with his Casio.
Oh. Oh. These are not the droids you're looking for. These are not the droids you're looking for.
Buster, I got to get some better company. What do you want?
Oh, no.
They're making fun of your bandana.
Chess says word on the street is the Warriors are trading all their picks on Thursday night. Oh, I hope not.
Huh.
I would be shocked by that. I think they may trade the number 1 though. Is there anybody you guys want in the draft Thursday night, or is it too premature?
I think it's a little premature. I mean, honestly, I think it's going to be, there's a handful of guys, and we just got to see where people go in the mid rounds. There's always some reaches. There's always people that fall. And I bet that's their strategy too, is like, let's, maybe we have a couple guys targeted that we think could fit in the Warriors system. And then, if they're not there, then trade the pick.
I want Gabe Brown out of Michigan State.
Yeah, I know you like Gabe Brown.
I love Gabe Brown. And then I love Champagny played at St. John's. The guy we got to get on the show is Chris Mullen, because I got to get his thought. I got to get Mully's thoughts on Champagny. Champagny's interesting. He's not a crazy athlete, but he's got a Klay Thompson like release on his shot. And, he's got the ability, I think, that 2-3 years in the NBA, he could be a 40% 3-point shooter and a 90% foul shooter. He already shot as high as 38% from the college three, and he's already made 1 year, he made 88% of his free throws. So he had a wrist injury a couple years ago. But, man, and there are way better athletes all throughout this draft than Julian Champagnie. He's a twin. His brother, Justin, plays for Toronto. His brother Justin's a better athlete, but this kid Champagnie, Julian, flat out can stroke it. I mean, this guy can shoot the heck out of the basketball, lights out. And what he really is, he's a mid-range marksman. And he's kind of I don't know if he's a 2 with athletic limitations, or if he's a 3, or if he's like a stretch 4, and maybe he's like your small ball 4. But, man, if you put him on the floor with Klay Thompson and Jordan Poole and Steph Curry, and you're going to be doubling one of them, and you're going to leave Julian Champagnie wide open, and he can sit there and camp out at the 3-point line, or maybe hit some mid-range shots. I mean, he could be on this Warrior team freaking lethal. Imagine if you added another piece to the puzzle who could just flat out shoot the basketball. I mean, Imagine if you had a 40% 3-point shooter that you added to this team who's also a 90% foul shooter. And now you have Klay, Steph, Poole, and Champagnie. That to me is exciting. So I'm rooting for Champagnie, and I'm rooting for Gabe Brown. And also, the other guy I kind of like, Kofi Cockburn, the monster center for Illinois. And I know that it's he's like 20 years past his deal because the big man doesn't really exist in the NBA. But I think the Warriors are going to need a backup center, because I think Looney's going to go to Sacramento. I think they're going to lose out on Looney. And so if you could get Kofi Cockburn, who's, 290 and, lost some weight and kind of made his body a little bit better this year, and you could have him sitting behind James Wiseman, I guess I'd like to have Harbaugh or somebody like that who could shoot the ball as a big, but maybe you could have them both. I would not be in favor of trading the picks or selling the picks, because ultimately I think that this is the spot where you can really go from being a terrific team to being a dynasty, a dominant dynasty. What if you use these 3 picks and you go 3 for 3 and you get Draymond Green type players, you get all-star caliber players in the second round. Now you're a dominating team. So if I'm Golden State, man, I'm using those picks.
You think they're going to give this kid that they drafted last year who played overseas, Jessup?
In Australia.
Justinian Jessup? I mean, I don't know how legitimate those numbers are as far as a shooter. I don't think, maybe Rye could look up his numbers. I don't think he shot the ball like nearly as well this year. From the perimeter as he has in the past. I think his 3-point percentage was like low 30s.
I don't like him on this team because
I don't think he defends anybody.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, is with this new team where we have Poole and Curry and Klay that we at a diminished level, we can't just have a Duncan Robinson out there that's just a turnstile, even if he gets a good shooter.
Do you think they might go local in the second round with one of their picks, the kid from USF, the point guard?
I think that would be a good one. Yeah, Bouye. Yeah.
I mean,
Jamare Bouye. I mean, Bouye would be interesting. I'll tell you the other guy that I really love is there's a couple guys in this draft that are fantastic. David Roddy, who plays at Colorado State.
Don't know what to make of him.
He's a 6'5" guy.
Stocky.
6'5", super stocky, shot 43% from beyond the arc. And he doesn't have that NBA prototypical willowy length. But what he has is you can run your offense through him. You can run your offense through him. He's very dependable. He's a 43% 3-point shooter. He's thick. He can wall off guys. And, you're talking about putting a body on a body and trying to clear the glass. I mean, a guy like David Roddy could really be nice. I know he is 6'5".
He's got off the court stuff.
Does he?
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure he's just transferred all over. Boom, 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 and he just.
I don't know. I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he's probably a good guy. But he's interesting. There's a couple of really interesting players, but he's one of them for sure.
What do you think about the guard from Gonzaga? You think he might be there at the end of the first round, Nembhard?
I'm not a Nembhard fan. Are you talking about Nembhard?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a Nembhard fan.
Really?
A lot of people liked him. He looked good in Chicago. He looked good in the pre-draft camp.
Good defensive guy. He's smart.
He's got a little handle.
Yeah, good ball handler. Smart. They say he plays kind of like an extra coach on the team. Like Iguodala always was.
Yeah. A couple people are asking about Chet Holmgren. So, yeah, I mean, I guess I'd be interested in your guys' thoughts. I just real quick.
I just think he's going to have catastrophic injury. I mean, his ankles are tiny, tiny little ankles.
Yeah.
And all it's going to take is one player to fall wrong and land on him in any way, and he's going to blow out an ankle or a knee.
Those
to me, he needs to stay in college and get on a leg press and just sit there and get stronger.
That's what
I'd be worried. There's two guys that are really intriguing in this draft that are both in that category of super skinny. Holmgren, who's going to go probably top 5, maybe top 2. And then John Butler from Florida State, who NBADraft.net has going to the Warriors at 28. And you got to see this guy. He's 7'1", 175, and he's got a really buttery, soft outside shot. And he's got handle, and he's fluid. So, I mean, but he's 175 pounds. I mean, this guy could put on 30 pounds and you wouldn't even notice it. I mean, this guy needs to put on like 50 pounds before he's going to have NBA. Yeah, I mean, he's a developmental guy. To me, the guys that are really intriguing, just looking at NBADraft.net, is Dalen Terry, the point guard, the 6'7" point guard from Arizona. He's 6'7", he's 195, he's a sophomore, and he's a legit point. I mean, if you watch him, he's fluid. He explodes to the rim. He can jump. I mean, Jalen Terry, I think, could be a really good-looking player in 3-4 years. So he's supposedly going to be there. E.J. Liddell from Ohio State, 6'7", 245-pound power forward, kind of an undersized power forward, but he's intriguing. Jalen Williams from Arkansas, 6'10", 235 pounds, kind of a forward/center. I really liked him for Musselman this year. There's some other guys that are interesting. Bryce McGowans, who played at Nebraska, is like kind of built like Halliburton from Indiana, long and has good handle. Christian Coloco, the 7-footer from Arizona, they're saying is a second-round pick. He's intriguing as hell. J.D. Davison, who plays at Bama. He's maybe the best athlete in the entire draft. He's one of these. He's like a Ja Morant athlete. I mean, there's a lot of inefficiency in his game, and he needs to develop. And I don't know what kind of a shooter he is right now, but I mean, if you're just looking for freaky athlete, I mean, this kid from Alabama, J.D. Davison, you got to see him. He's 6'2", 190, a point guard, and he just gets way up. I mean, he's just crazy. And then Danny mentioned USF. They have Jamare Bouye, who, Bouye is a good player. I mean, and they're saying that he may go 49 in this mock draft. They have him going 49. Champagny, they have at 56, right before the Warriors pick. I really love him a lot. And
what
then
are their second round picks? 57, and what's the other one?
It's actually 55 and 51.
Okay,
51 and 55. The other guy that's really intriguing, there's 2 Jalen Williams in this draft, and they're both intriguing. There's the Jalen Williams who played at Arkansas, who I mentioned before. That's Jalen, Jaylin. And then there's Jalen Williams, who played at Santa Clara, who's like a 6'6" 2 guard who has Bill Duffy represents him. Bill's a buddy of mine. He's an NBA agent. This kid's 6'6", but he's got a 7'2" wingspan. He's
out on him is the problem. He's going to be top 15.
Probably, yeah. He's a Gilbert, Arizona kid. But he's got a 7'2" wingspan, and he's got a really nice shot. So he's intriguing. Rye's right. He's probably going to go in the teens or early 20s.
To me, I want a wing. You just can't have enough wings in this league, and that's just, you see it in the playoffs. And then back to Chet. I mean, my thought on Chet is, he's not going to be this dominant guy that's like a one on a title team, but I think as long as health permits, I think he could be like kind of that Al Horford type guy that does a little bit of everything and that's super valuable. Like, I could see him playing on the Celtics. I could see him playing on the Warriors in that title game. And then I think that this is
what he reminds me of? He reminds me of kind of a Caucasian version of Durant, as far as he's skilled. Yeah. I mean, he's a super skilled, string bean of a guy. You know what I mean? Durant now was not nearly this thin or this weak, but Chet Holmgren's got a lot of KD to him.
KD was pretty weak.
He's got handle. He's got fluidity. He's got range. He's got, but durability would be my concern there.
So here's the interesting tidbit I'm hearing is that OKC is going to take Chet because they're not trying to win now. They're not trying to take some guy that's going to help them win now, because they're trying to tank for next year to get Victor Wembanyama.
Yes, I've seen him too. So, my God, that kid's going to be incredible. Incredible. He's 7'1". He's fluid. Wembanyama is incredible.
Than, Rudy Gobert with longer arms, and he shoots threes, and he's fluid.
Oh yeah, no, Wembanyama. You got to look at him. I mean, he's not in this draft, but he's incredible.
But you know how OKC
I can see that. I can see OKC, but how do you pass on Paolo Banchero?
I mean,
Banchero's 6'10", 250. He's got a great outside shot.
Yeah, I just looked at a mock draft. CBS has him going 1 to Orlando.
Banchero?
Yeah. But it's weird.
I think Jabari Smith goes 1, but Banchero's pretty freaking awesome.
They got Holmgren going 5 in that draft.
What?
Behind who's 4?
Sacramento's 4. They would. What?
Sacramento would take him at 4, I think.
1,000%.
But
you know what? I'll say this. I like Jabari Smith as far as a prospect, 6'10", 220, plays killer D. He's a great finisher. He's got a really nice outside shot. He's nice. And Banchero's got a terrific outside shot. He's 6'10", 250. But I'll tell you, this might be the kind of draft where, 6 months from now, we're going, how did anybody pass on Jaden Ivey?
Yeah.
Sure. Jaden Ivey, have you guys seen Jaden Ivey's explosive move to the hole? I mean, it's like it reminds you, it's kind of a cross between Westbrook and Jordan.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just, oh my God, he's ridiculous. This guy's it's like the fastest moving athlete you're going to see with the ball in his hands. I mean, he might be the best player in this draft. I mean,
he's way better at the NBA level. Like, you could see it even when he was at Purdue, and even when they were rolling, it just looked like you kind of got the vibe from him, like, look, I'm an NBA player.
I don't know who's doing this. Who's putting this to, guy by the name of Matt Norlander, CBS.
Never heard of him.
But he's got Ivy going 6th, and he's got Sacramento taking Benedict
Mathurin from Arizona, who's a great player too, but Ivy's world's better.
Yeah,
I think Ivy's a superstar. I really do. If I were the Warriors and Sacramento would take Jordan Poole for that 4th pick, I'd make that trade right now. You can have Jordan Poole, Mike Brown, and give me Jaden Ivey, and I'll take Jaden Ivey.
I don't know.
Which would be a risk because, I mean, Poole's a 92% foul shooter, and, who knows what Jaden Ivey's going to become. But I think that would take Golden State to the next level. The other guy that I really love in this draft is Blake Wesley, who played the backcourt for Notre Dame. I don't know if you guys watched Notre Dame this year, but Blake Wesley.
A little bit.
Blake Wesley is freaking awesome, man.
He played really
6'5", 185, killer competitor. I mean, just a kid. They compare him to Spreewell. He's just a ridiculous athlete, but he's also has this drive. He has this competitive side that's just, I mean, it's incredible. You get that Blake Wesley, and I only saw Notre Dame a couple times this year, but both times I saw them, this kid stood out.
Yeah, he stood out, but he had a pretty poor game versus St. Mary's. But I mean, that was literally the Maui.
And he needs to work on his shooting. He's only a 30%, 3-point shooter. He's a 66% free throw shooter. So he's raw. He's a freshman. That's the one thing. He's from South Bend, played at Notre Dame. But if you watched him this year, I mean, he's tenacious, and he's a good two-way player. He's not just like an offensive player but doesn't play D. This guy plays D.
Yeah.
So Blake Wesley's really intriguing, and they're saying he may go, maybe in the teens.
I think things are going to get very, very interesting over the next week or two. I think you're going to see guys on the move like Donovan Mitchell. You could see Rudy Gobert. When we pick
Mitchell could go to the Heat. That would be
we're picking teams right now. The landscape's going to change here in the next 10, 12 days when you get the draft and then free agency and trades. I mean, it's going to blow up this year, I think. There's going to be a lot of guys, stars that are going to change teams. And it'll be interesting to have that conversation in a couple of weeks to see who looks pretty good.
MF's like, who's a sleeper lineman in next year's NFL draft? Don't F with MF. Don't F with me. Don't F with me.
What do you think of Walker Kessler? Because I've seen him mocked there to the Warriors a few times. I mean, he's a pretty good defensive player. I wish he shot a little bit more, and he was a dominant college player, but I don't know if that has more to do with
he's a shooter. I don't love him. To me, I see kind of a stiff player, but who knows? I mean, the one thing about the NBA draft is that it's so much about projections at this point, because these guys are coming out after 1 year, 2 years. So, I mean, he's definitely got nice shooting ability.
I wonder if you could pull something off without giving up a player like Poole. If you could pull a trade off to some team that, give up Moses Moody, last year's 14th pick, and your 28th pick, and maybe even one of your second round picks to move up to in the top 5 or something. I mean, would anybody do that? Would anybody take would Sacramento even consider something like that?
Take what?
Take Moses Moody, last year's 14th pick, and your first and second round picks to move up to.
No, Sacramento is. I mean, not that they wouldn't want Moses Moody. I'm sure they would, but they're not going to take Moses Moody in the 28th pick for the 4th pick in the draft.
No, and your 2 number 2s. I mean, Sacramento's
got twos aren't worth that much. I mean, you'd have to move Poole. If you move Poole, Poole and Moody, you can do that. But
I think you can do it without Moody. I think you get Poole straight up, and maybe one of your picks for the.
I mean, that would be tough. I mean, that's the thing. Would you trade Jordan Poole for Jaden Ivey? Then at least you're pushing off. See, here's the thing though. You can't pay everybody, and so are you going to pay? Some people think they're going to pay Looney. Some people think they're going to pay Peyton. Some people think they're going to extend Wiggins. Some people think they're going to do all of that. Well, what if they do all of that? Then something's going to have to give, and that probably means you can't pay Poole what you want to pay Poole. So if you traded Poole for Ivy, at least you would delay having to pay, and you could have.
He also might not be the guy that.
He also might not be as good as Poole.
Years.
Yeah. See, but Poole is. I don't think I do that just because I know what Poole's going to get better, and I know that he's going to put in the work because he's a gym rat, and he's just getting better. He's only 22, isn't he? Is he 23? Something like that.
22, and he's considered to be the hardest working guy on the team. But
exactly.
Also, there's some inconsistency there. Is he a 1? Is he a 2? Is he a combo?
But
what is
how
he?
much growth?
I mean, what is Jordan Poole? I mean, he's a terrific shooter, free throw shooter. You think he's a 1?
I don't think Curry's a 1. I think Curry's like a hybrid. And I think
but in today's NBA, he's a 1. He's more of a 1 than a 2, right?
Yeah.
Is Poole more a 1 or a 2?
1.
He's more of a 1.
I feel like we're at an eye appointment. Better 1, better 2. Better 1, better 2.
Can you do that? Can you do that again?
Is this
one more
better
time?
or is that better?
Slightly 1.
Is this better?
Yeah.
Or is that better? This better? Or is that better? It's that. And if you notice when you go see your tax guy, he's always like, he takes out a pen. He's like, Okay. All right. Okay. All right. He's like checking everything, and you're like, "What? What are you doing? What are you?" Did you guys ever see the movie? What was the one with where all the singles go to the island?
Couples Retreat.
What's it called? Couples Retreat.
Yeah.
Yeah, you ever see Couples Retreat?
Yeah.
He's like, "Would it make you feel better if I wasn't writing?" He's like, "Yes, it would." He's like, interesting.
Yeah.
Write it down.
Hey,
I love that freaking movie. That movie makes me laugh.
Val Ramos has a comment about the Giants. When do you think the Giants are going to make a move? Val, we're trading your brother.
Look at Danny. Oh, that's bad. That's worth muting. That was wrong.
Oh, do you want to play some of the audio for the video?
Just awful. We're trading your brother, Elliot Ramos. Look at Danny. He's so proud of himself too. He's smiling over there. I like when Dan gets really red in the face too. It's entertaining. Okay, we'll bring Dan back, but that was really bad, Dan. I mean,
this is a record. I gotta liven it up a little bit. Couples Retreat, Nick.
Did you ever see Couples Retreat, Danny?
Oh,
did you ever
movie.
see it?
Okay, I thought I'm trying to. Where's he going?
I think it starred. Is it Vince Vaughn?
Vince Vaughn. Dan thought you were suggesting something.
It's like Couples Retreat.
Couples Retreat. Yes, I think.
I don't know, Nick. I've been muted so much I can't even think straight tonight.
Oh, we're in your head. You were in your head.
He's in my head, man. It's like Boston. I'm Draymond.
Look at MF here. MF he's really grasping. Remember Joe Hughes from KMBR? He should stop by.
Wow,
my God,
the whole roster.
Yeah, seriously. Why did Gary call Bobby Evans Robert? Yeah, Gary's just being funny. Robert Evans joining us.
What you are to the NFL draft, he is to your career.
Seriously, he's all over it. And then somebody's like, the guy has a ton of insight.
Yeah. Also, when you see that Nick I keep thinking it's Nick Castellanos.
Who needs that guy? He only hits 300.
Yeah, no chance.
Caracillo.
Coccimilgio. Yeah, so I tried to get Monster
Goats. Dan is shook.
Shook.
I'm all shook up.
I tried to get Monster Slam chant going when Wiggins' parade went by, or his boat. But
I heard that.
I wanted to tune in longer. Did you ever start exchanging any comments with the fans around you?
Yeah, there was one guy who kept saying FKD, and then so I was asked him a few questions. I had my buddies there. I was asking them questions. One of them was in Kansas. You know what you should have done? I would have loved it, man.
The Krueger show.
It would have been incredible if you had gone like, "Hey, if you're a hardcore Warrior fan, I've got a question for you," and then have people say, "Yeah, I'm a hardcore Warrior fan," and then name like two basketball players.
Who is Kenny Atkinson?
Yeah, exactly, yeah, exactly. Or just like two basketball players. Which of these players played for the Warriors? And just see if these hardcore Warrior fans could.
You mentioned hardcore, and all of a sudden the bots fill up the room with.
Seriously, you say hardcore, and suddenly people are like, "Hey, that reminds me, I should put some porn in the site."
Yeah. Couples Retreat. Yeah.
Facepalm Godzilla. Muting Dan seems to be becoming like the new nobody cares. That's good. That was Gary. That was one of Gary's favorite lines. Jackson J. Who are the greatest athlete from your high schools? Larry, Ryan, and Dan. That's a good question. The greatest athletes from my high school. Wow, Dan Fouts. Dan Fouts. Yeah.
I got a few.
Cats, get them Cats. Go get them Cats.
Honestly, maybe. I mean, I like to think of from when I was in high school and before. But
who was that lefty pitcher the Giants traded a couple years ago to Tampa? Matt Crook. Do you remember that guy?
No.
He pitched for St. Ignatius too. But Dan Fouts, definitely Dan Fouts.
We have a few guys in the bigs like James Marvel, like kind of random guys. But
what high school?
Campolindo. But
Campolindo, didn't you guys have a baseball player? I thought you guys had a baseball player.
Oh, we had when I got there my freshman year, we were ranked number 1 in the country. We had 11 guys on the baseball team going to play college, and we have a few of them that are like in AAA, dabble in the major leagues right now. But I'd say maybe the best athlete, honestly, could be Aiden Mahaney, the point guard, who who just finished up at Campo this past year. I mean, he had
this kid's a freshman in college, and he's the greatest athlete in the history of Campo.
I mean, he's going to be the star point guard at St. Mary's, and
there's got to be somebody from Campo that you're just not thinking of, dude.
I mean, they didn't lose a game.
I have to look up Campo, famous Campo Lindo graduates. I may have to.
I mean, that they won like 3 state championships and didn't lose a game as like a small D3 all white school, basically. Like, kid was legit.
Let's see. Greatest Campo Lindo athletes. We'll look it up.
I was looking up my high school, Clayton Valley.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe my sister. She was all
she one of the great.
I mean, she was the East Bay
Were you guys the Cougars? Were you guys the Cougars?
Yeah. She was the Bay Area Female Athlete of the Year.
Campo Lindo. The mean streets. I don't know how you got off the mean streets of Moraga. How you got out. Matt Biondi went to Campo Lindo.
Oh, yeah.
Matt Biondi was a great Olympic swimmer from Cal.
I mean,
Paul Ferry's the former Giant.
I didn't know.
Played at Campo Lindo. Chip Hale, former baseball player, former coach with the A's.
How about Giorgio Tavecchio?
Aaron Pareto was a pretty good player too for Campo Lindo.
Tavecchio?
No, Tavecchio was the kicker.
Giorgio Tavecchio, the kicker. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Matt Viscursion went there.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we got some like random, like John Zuber, who was at Cal, and I think
Wayne Franklin. Wayne Franklin coached there.
Wow.
That's a former Giant. Danny, where'd you go?
Clayton Valley High and Concord.
Clayton Valley High School.
Oh, yeah, we had one guy that played.
Clayton Valley's a juggernaut.
Yeah.
We had prior to me going there, Clyde Mayshore used to play for the Montreal Expos. He was a guy that played, but my brother Ron was a great athlete. He was 10-letter sport, was Northern California Defensive Player of the Year. Played you remember Theodis Brown of
it's a charter school, right? It's a charter school.
Now it is. It wasn't when we went. It became a charter school. But Ron, my brother, he almost made it with the Minnesota Vikings. He was was in
I'll
camp.
say this: they got a monster team now. By the way, they have a huge physical offensive line. They just roll people.
Well, yeah, they become a charter school and they can
they have black turf. By the way, black AstroTurf.
Yeah, when I was a kid, we didn't even have lights. They
imagine playing in the summertime in Concord on black AstroTurf.
That's brutal.
I mean, every tackle you'd pop right up just because you'd be burning underneath.
Yeah.
And also, I will go back to so, I mean, don't you think it's insane that Campo Lindo, a small little, it's no different than like Northgate, basically, having a top 15 basketball team in the country.
That is, and Northgate was good this year too. Clarence Beeks is Kevin Gogan. Kevin Gogan went to Sacred Heart. He played for SH. Big guy though. Big guy. Class 83, basketball, football. Gogan. You guys remember Gogan from the Niners, right?
Yeah,
I don't.
Barry's had some. I'm drawing a blank, and I know the kid. The Steelers running back went to Alabama.
Najee Harris.
Najee went to Antioch.
Najee Harris was the male athlete of the year, and my sister was the female.
Yeah, Najee. Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. Najee was crazy. I went to the De La Salle Antioch game at De La Salle, Najee's final year there, and it was crazy. De La Salle won the game. Najee was like student body right, and it'd be like Najee Harris runs for 11 yards. He wouldn't even, it wasn't even like he would cut it up field at all. He would just like run at an angle right to the sideline, right? But it would be like 11 yards on a sweep, 11 yards on another sweep, student body left, student body right. It was crazy. You're watching this kid and you're like, my God, he can get the corner at will. It was like he was just taking what the defense gave him on every play, and he could just beat you to the pylon, and it would be like an automatic first down. You know, it wouldn't even look like anything. It'd be like Najee Harris, 13-yard carry. I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy how good Najee was at Antioch. When
Joe Mixon was pretty insane too.
At Freedom High School and wherever, Union City. So,
yeah. High school.
All right, guys, we've been going for almost 3 hours here. We're coming up on 10:30. Let's do this. Let's pay the bills right here, and then we'll come back with a few more thoughts on the Krueger Show next. Larry Krueger here for Telmetrics. Thanks to Casey Bateman and the good people at Telmetrics. If you're an occupational therapist, if you're an orthopedic surgeon, a chiropractor, a physical therapist of any kind, Telmetrics is designed for you to use in your practice and will greatly benefit your patients. Telmetrics uses computer vision and artificial intelligence and provides a platform for outpatient rehab therapy services, both in the clinical and the telehealth environments. So using Telmetrics can improve your patient's experience and much more. So for all your sports injury needs, or if you're a physical rehabilitation specialist of any kind, make sure you use telmetrics.co, TELMETRIX.co. And thanks to Casey Bateman and all the good people at Telmetrics for being a proud sponsor of the Krueger. I'd like to thank our sponsor, Dan Coccimilgio. Dan is a buddy, and he is a phenomenal retirement planning specialist. And you can contact him today at securemoney.com or at his number, 925-628-9966. There's a lot of uncertainty in our world right now, and you want to make sure that your money is secure. That is the key. Danny's got 25 years of experience, born and raised right here in the Bay Area, and he can help you get an immediate 10% premium bonus on your principal retirement account. So give him a call, 925-628-9966. He'll make an appointment with you, and you can sit down. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of a deal. He'll consult with you and come up with a strategy to get you going to where you want to be. Once again, 925-628-9966, securemoney.com on the web. And thanks to Dan Coccimilgio and all the people at Secure Money for being proud sponsors of the Krueger Show. And thanks to Tony Cassera and the good people at Cassera's Italian Menswear. They are housing the Krueger Show t-shirts, and they're a proud sponsor of the show as well. The Krueger Show t-shirt, the Krueger Show podcast t-shirt is available there at their store in Dublin. Their address is 7372 San Ramon Road in Dublin, California. And go see Tony Cassera and get yourself a Krueger Show t-shirt and support the show. And special thanks to our sponsor, New York Style Italian Sausage. That's right, NewYorkStyleSausage.com is their website. Phenomenal product, whether it's the breakfast sausage, the Italian mild, the Italian spicy, the chorizo. You cannot go wrong with New York Style Italian Sausage. Once again, NewYorkStyleSausage.com, often imitated, never equaled. And they are a proud sponsor of the Krueger Show. Thanks to them as well.
We grew up with a Sunday dinner. That means no matter how busy you were, no matter where the hell you were, you came to dinner on a Sunday night. Yeah, Sunday dinner without sausage, it's like a church without God. You know, how can you go to church if you don't believe in God? You know, and along with the sausage also became the discussions. That was discussion night. You know, it wasn't a typical family that you sit there and you're quiet, you know, and you don't talk with a mouthful. Oh, no, man. Italians talk when they're eating. Italians even talk when they're sleeping. And definitely we talk with our hands. So if we can't express it through our mouth, through our lips, we express it with our hands. So, and that's what sausage is, really. It's an expression, you know, that life is good.
All right, welcome back to the Krueger Show. Larry Krueger, Dan Coccimilgio, Ryan Smith with you on a Monday night. And if you just tuned in, Giants got walked off in Atlanta. The parade happened earlier today through the streets of San Francisco. I'm watching it right now on the tube as we're doing this, and we're going through the chat. Lots of people with some fantastic comments throughout the evening. MF says, "Can I get my Krueger Show T-shirt signed by Ned?" Yes, you probably can. I can ask Ned if he's willing to sign one for you. Absolutely. That is doable. So,
Hey, the best high
Carlo
school.
Peace is Dan doing his best Draymond Green impersonation right now. Draymond stopped on the parade route and got ice cream. Did you see that?
I missed that.
Yeah, you missed it, but it happened.
Hey, the best high school though.
Sarah.
Yeah, Bonds and Brady. How do you beat that?
Yeah.
Well, it's not the best high school though.
Best
It's
as far as producing.
as far as athletes.
Yeah, athlete producing the best. I mean, there might be a high school that's got more and some pretty recognizable names, but when you produce
Bonds and maybe one of the best baseball and football players. Yeah, Sarah for sure. So yeah, no doubt. Though I hated Sarah in high school. Absolutely hated Sarah. But they weren't really the dominant team in the WCAL, even though they had good programs. I would say at the time when I was in high school, it was probably more like Bellarmine or St. Francis. You know who else went to St. Francis was Eric Burns. He went to St. Francis, and I believe there's a couple other guys. That second baseman who played for the Cardinals a couple years ago who went to UC Davis. He went to St. Francis. St. Francis has a pretty good little tradition going down there as well. The pride of Mountain View, California. All right, guys, final thoughts on the night as we are cruising right up to 3-hour live stream. We're coming up just past 10:30. We've been going and going and going. Give us your final night, Danny, your final thought of the night. Danny, you want to go first?
I'll go second.
You go second. All right, Ryan, go ahead.
That's a mute. No, I thought, well, I'm just going to say this, honestly. While partially I'm still buzzing from the parade, and no, I did not consume any alcohol. It's just the joy of Steph Curry being so inspirational. And then secondly, I thought this was a super fun show. It was almost less of a post game and more of just a full-blown radio show.
It was a quality hang. Romo 2001. Where's the cinnamon Koshi cereal, Danny?
In the pantry.
Yeah, you want ice cream. You know that. I'm not sure if that's good for you. Go ahead.
My final thoughts are the show was a lot more entertaining and interesting, talking about everything we talked about except for the Giants bats. So I'm still a little bit ticked off that we couldn't get any runs across for the second straight game, getting walked off. And I just think this team needs a jolt. I don't know what that's going to be, but it's inconsistent as hell. It's just up and down. They play good, then they play like crap, then they do okay. They're just, this is a talented enough team to win 6 out of every 10 games, but they're not. They're 7 out of the last 10 now or something like that. But it's just
7. You're right.
Yeah, it just needs to. The pitching is there. I love the pitching. It's got enough pitching to bring a World Series title.
90 game pitch.
Yeah, it's pitching that wins championships. So I'm good with that. I want some bats, though.
Is it possible? Speed. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Danny. I was going to say, is it possible that Luis Gonzalez is the best player on the team?
Yeah. I mean, if you're serving that Kool-Aid, I'm drinking it.
I mean, is that, how crazy that sounds? But that might be true.
I mean,
I'm watching him night after night. He looks great. What were you going to say, Ryan?
I just said he is the son of Luis Gonzalez after all.
That's right. He is the son of Luis Gonzalez. 916_49er says, great show, guys. Thank you. We've got this one from Carlo P. Says, fruits are better than soda. What's next? There we go. We got into Cragmont.
Comment from me on the baseball, on the Giants.
Oh, here we go.
Give me more
a man
Slater.
Speaking with his mouth full. All right, Here we go. Go ahead, Dan.
Give me more Slater and more Jock. I don't care if they don't hit their platoon. I just want to see them in the lineup and see what they can do because we need athletes. We need some athletes out there.
I agree.
Dan wants more Jock. Okay, it sounds like a personal issue. All right, here we go. Can we go one more monster slam for the man who wants more Jock?
He's going to drive to the hoop again. He kicks it out to Wiggins. Wiggins drives, goes in for a monster slam. Oh, no, they're calling an offensive foul. No way.
Yeah. Never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you gon' get exactly what you asked for. Handful, whatever you bring me getting handled. I answer to no one, I don't need to hassle. Yeah.